Hey everyone, welcome back to the Creative Tavern. My name is Christopher Lee. Welcome, and I'm a concept artist. I've been in the industry for about 10 years with various companies such as Walt Disney Imagineering, as well as Universal Studios Creative. And I'm here today with Michael Welker. Say hello, Michael.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael L. Wilker. I am a software developer, a writer, and semi-retired creative producer from the theme park industry, which is where I met and got to work on some really great projects with Chris. Um, in between big theme park projects, recently Chris and I said, hey, why don't we put our heads together and do a personal creative project, just the two of us? Took us a while to figure out what that was going to be. We eventually settled on a video game, learning how to make a video game since neither of us have ever done that before. But we also said we wanted to give other people a window into our creative process and kind of watch this happen along the way, and also to create a space where we can then hang out with other creatively minded people. And that's how the Creative Tavern came to be. And to tell you more about that, I'm going to hand it back to Chris.
Thank you, Michael. And the Creative Tavern is a place for all creative people. It's a place to share everything that you're doing, to share what we're doing. Currently, we're making a video game. In a couple of months, we may not be making a video game. Maybe we would be, or will be, or maybe we won't. It's just like a process of, us doing something creative and sharing it with you guys. And hopefully, you guys could share what you're doing with us. And you guys are most definitely welcome into our Discord, and it's there where you can share your amazing work. And on every Sunday, we take a look at all the artwork, the music, the writing, anything at all that is creative. So yeah, so very, 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 very happy to have you guys in here. Just want to do a really quick shout out to Killer Cookie, who is in the chat, Coley Butt, Captain Blue Blue, as well as Totoro. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. And Michael, did I miss anything?
I don't think so. Nailed it.
Sweet. Okay. Everything except the intro. Yet again, I will get it. I will get it. I promise you guys. Okay. And today is or not Sunday, Wednesday, and because it's Wednesday, it's actually Michael's time to share with us what he did in programming stuff in Unity, as well as trivia night. So if you guys stick around, feel free to join us for trivia. And tonight we have John Claude Van Damme themed trivia, and
That's right.
courtesy of me because I used to like, well, I mean, I still like John Claude Van Damme. I watch a lot of his movies back then, like Bloodsport, Street Fighter, Lionheart, and all that other good movies. Yeah.
Yeah, he was really a lot more active, I think, in the like 90s than he
Mm-hmm.
is now, which is too bad. But,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I'm right there with you. I watched a lot of his stuff too.
Yeah. All right. So
Alrighty.
whenever you're ready, Michael, I will put the screen on you.
Excellent. I shall take it away. Um, so I get, is a recap worth doing this week? Well, so here,
It's up to you, man.
I'm gonna skip the recap because I can kind of show you some new things while getting to like, here's sort of where we were last time. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that up. First, what I'll bring up is the VS Code, because there's some things in here that I spent time working on that actually is not really worth showing, but I think it's important to just note for anybody who is developing a video game and doing the coding piece of it. There's a whole lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that never actually gets to like the end user in terms of making their experience better. There's just a whole lot of things that you kind of have to do on the back end to just make the thing work and to make the thing continue working at the same level that it was like the last time. Because one of the things that I've realized is every almost every time I add a new feature to the game, two or three other things break.
Hmm.
So anytime I'm giving an update and I'm like, "Oh, look at all this cool stuff that I added." Every one of those things also was like I had to do the programming to add the thing, but then also had to like go and fix the 3 to 4 things that broke. Um, which is I don't know, it's a weird thing. I've got kind of like a metaphor for it that maybe we'll get to a little bit later that I think ties in with a bigger sort of life creative process kind of a thing. But for now, there was there's a surprising amount of just like adding something and then trying to get back to just like, okay, is everything not broken now? Okay, great. Now we can
Mm,
move forward. And
mm,
then add a new feature and it happens all over again. Uh, but anyway, so one of the things that I kind of listed up here up front are various bug fixes. There was this one weird bug where like whenever the player would take damage, instead of just the player's ship flashing yellow, their targeting reticle would also flash yellow. And I was like, I don't. That's a bug. I don't think it should do that. It looks kind of weird. So I got rid of that. Fixed that. And we might not have seen that because up until this point, I really haven't had very much of. Well, actually, yeah, last week was the first time in a long time that we were able to see the player taking damage. Uh, and actually, I guess I could switch over to Unity and kind of show that happening. Am I already there? Actually, hold the phone on that because I'm going to show you a bunch of things all at once in there, and you can kind of just pay attention, and you'll notice that the targeting reticle doesn't flash yellow
mm.
anymore. Um, oh yeah, so there were a whole bunch of collider issues with the laser bolts. You may remember from last week, I figured out how to get missiles to shoot out of the missile drone.
Yeah, those
Uh,
are cool.
and yeah, thank you. And then I used the sort of code and the system that I was using for the missiles, and used the same thing to create laser bolts. And then that ended up replacing and actually, I guess that might be a good time to jump a little bit ahead to here. I kind of did like this full overhaul of the laser and missile system to kind of get those things to match up and act as like actual projectiles in the game. And one of the big updates was this one. I updated the player's firing system because previously I was actually using the same firing system that I got from the tutorial. Shout out to the folks at GameDev.tv, where they have this really amazing Unity 3D game course that you can take where you make 5 different projects. And one of those projects was a sort of like a very rudimentary version of the rail shooter game that we're making now. Um, Chris and I have added a lot to it since then, so ours has a whole bunch more going on in it. But if you're at all interested in kind of like picking up in in our footsteps or following in our footsteps, I highly recommend checking out GameDev.tv.
Sponsors
Um,
welcome. Sponsors welcome.
Sponsorships absolutely welcome. Um, but up to this point, I had been using their system, which was basically just turning on a particle effect that has these like this laser stream. But that came with some limitations, like I didn't really have as good hit detection there as I wanted. But with the new system, with the missile system that I created, and then the copy pasted version for the laser bolts, I have a lot more control there. So I ended up taking that and putting that new system on the player ship. So now the player can shoot in the same way that the drones do. So everybody's using the same gun system now. And because of that, I was also able to add a gun owner enum. And by the way, an enum for the non-programming folks out there is short for enumeration, and it's really just like it's a fancy term for a list. It's where you just say like, here's a list of 3 things, and whatever this thing is trying to be, it has to be one of these 3 things. It can't be anything else.
Mm.
And so in our case, I created an enum which basically just says this laser bolt was either shot by a drone or shot by the player. And depending on who shot the bolt and what the bolt's hitting, we can now program it to do different things. So, which allows us to take care of something like friendly fire, which was a problem before, where when we had a bunch of drones on the screen and we're using the old shooting particle system, they would shoot each other and blow each
Oh,
other up.
right.
Which is like, that's a problem. How do we fix that? Well, now I figured out how to do that. So basically, when a drone shoots a laser bolt and it hits another drone, the laser bolt talks to the drone and says like, "Hey, what are you?" And the drone says, "I'm a drone." And then the laser bolt goes, "Okay, wait a minute. Who shot me? Oh, I got shot from a drone, and I'm hitting a drone. That means don't do anything. Just explode."
Nice.
But the
Yeah.
drone or the laser can also, like if it's shot from a drone and hits the player, does the same thing. Goes, "Oh, I'm shot from a drone and I hit the player, damage the player."
Mm-mm-mm.
Um,
Captain Blue Blue
mm,
says enum is basically a labeled index.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Yep, and you can use like indexes to kind of like uh, cycle through elements in a list,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah, yeah.
in programmer speak, an array.
Nice.
Um, so yeah, so some updates to the laser system there. The missile system also got some additional updates because I started with that, but it was a little bit more primitive. I figured out a bunch more things with the lasers, and then those new learnings got re-implemented back into the missile system.
Hmm.
Oh, and I added some missile effects, which we're going to see in a minute here. I think they need some polish because they're a little bit too busy, I think, but at least they're in there, and we can kind of tweak them and balance them as we want.
Yeah. Cool.
Real quick, before we jump in there and start looking at some sexy stuff, I'm gonna finish up here. So we talked about the lasers. Oh yeah, there was this weird drone aim misalignment problem that I was struggling with for like a day or two, where the drones were like targeting the player, but would shoot over the player's head. And so if the player was in this like a certain position, the drones they had like stormtrooper aim from
Oh,
Star
sure.
Wars. They just could not hit the player.
Right.
So I had to figure out like what was going on with that. Long story short, it was basically there was a disconnect between where the the center of the drone's gun and the center of the drone were offset. So when the drone was looking at the player relative to its center, the gun was actually offset a little bit. So then it would shoot below the player or above the player. So what I ended up having to do is just change the thing that looks at the player to be relative to the center of the gun. So
Hmm.
then the gun is aiming at the player, and as long as the player, doesn't move fast enough, they're always going to get hit.
Nice. Sorry,
Um,
Captain Blue
yep.
says it shows how much you have learned, Michael. Talking to you.
Thank you.
This is a specific part where you have taken the basic version from a tutorial and improved it by a lot. So good job, Michael.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah.
Um, Yeah, and so the other thing that I did here was I fixed the missile drone shots, which we'll see in a second. If you remember from last week, the missile would just come out of the eye of the missile drone. Now I've got it set up to actually fire from the different guns.
That's so cool.
And then the last thing was just a little bug with like the laser bolts were casting shadows, and it looked really weird. I
Oh,
didn't see it until later, and then I went in and fixed that.
cool.
Which, by the way, for anybody watching who's like that's driving you crazy and you can't figure out how to disable it, if you go to the object that's making the shadow and go to its mesh renderer, there's a drop down for lighting, and then you can toggle off cast shadows.
Oh, oh,
So that you can adjust whether or not that thing receives shadows and whether or not that thing makes shadows. But that's where it's hidden under the object mesh renderer lighting.
nice,
There you go.
nice.
All right, so now let's look at some cool stuff.
Thank you so much, Knuckles, for lurking.
Yeah, Knuckles, welcome. Okay, so I think here, drone spawn gate. Yep, we'll put that there. Let's set this to missile drones. Let's do 5 of them, I guess. And it's been a while since I've been in here. Hopefully this doesn't completely break. What should happen is we're gonna fly forward here. Oh, I got this like spinning asteroid. A little sneak peek of some other stuff we'll see in a little bit.
Cool.
But now we got our missile drones here, and you can see when
Oh
they
shit.
shoot. Yeah, isn't that cool? When they shoot, they get this little like puff of smoke out of the cannon that they're shooting from, and the missile actually fires out of that cannon, and it cycles through the 3 of them. So if you look at just one of the drones, you'll see that it fires from its upper left, then its upper right, then its bottom, and then back to upper left, and it kind of cycles through them. And I can actually dodge these missiles. They're not heat-seeking, but the drones will shoot wherever the player is. So you can see if I'm over here, they're kind of shooting in that general direction. And now if
Yeah,
I don't move, I start getting hit again.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, so I added a bunch of special effects elements to it. Oh, I also added to this trailing like fire effect to the missiles, which still has kind of like a little bit of a weird bug. They're kind of like
Yeah.
have this
Yeah, yeah,
they,
yeah.
they move vertically, right? Like
Right.
which is not quite what you would expect, and I'm not 100% sure why that is. Um, Still trying to work that out. There's been a lot of things that have been really wacky with getting different projectile like between the missiles and the laser bolts and trying to get them to behave the way they should for the game uh, can create some like weird circumstances which like the way we're seeing things in here right now, it I'm hoping that it looks pretty good and looks like what you would expect to be happening while we're flying through space and having these missiles shot at us. But they're actually not behaving the way that they should be because the missiles are actually moving in the local space of the drones and the player ship, as opposed to in the world space. Which basically just means if I click that and go here, let me. Oh yeah, I also added all of these red laser lines in the debug mode to make sure that the drones were aiming at the player properly.
Yeah,
So you can see that. Actually, I can pause this and show you. Like if we go in on this drone here, you can see we've got these like red laser beams coming out of each one of his guns.
that's cool.
So that was just a little piece of code in the debugging that I added in order to make sure that they were aiming at the player properly. And you can see they're like aiming right in the center of the player, which is perfect. That was not always the case.
Mm.
Took some work to get that working. And this might be kind of hard to see. I'm going to try to show it to you, but if I switch back over here, these missiles that are being shot are they're actually moving relative to the player and the drones and not world space. Yeah, they're kind of like moving backwards. They're kind of like
Uh,
staying where they are. I
yeah,
know this is
yeah.
probably really hard to say. Actually, you know what? I can make this a little bit easier. Let me go to environment, change the skybox to the default skybox. I think this will be a little bit easier to see.
So, Michael, the
Yeah.
Captain Blue says, I think the particle system flames upwards because it is what the particle emitter is told to do. Probably it flames upwards by
Mm.
default.
Ah, good note. Okay, yeah. I'll check into that. Like most of the particle stuff so far, it's all been just off the shelf things, and if it doesn't do what I want it to do off the shelf, I'm like, I'll figure out how to tweak it later. So this was the only thing that I found that was like as close as possible. But that's a really good tip because I know at some point when we start, polishing, we'll probably need to get in there, and that will be the first place that I look. So thank you, Captain Blue Blue. But just to kind of like oh, and actually to make it even easier to see, I'm also going to disable the post-processing because now it looks a little bit soap opera-y. So we're clicking here and then wait for the player to go through the gate. So our drones move into position and now they're going to start firing. See how like they're kind of like
Yeah,
not really moving in place?
yeah.
It's because they're advancing towards where, and I coded it this way intentionally.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And the reason for that is because when you switch over to the game, this actually looks great. This is
Yeah,
exactly what you want for the gameplay.
yeah.
Um, but I think some of that might also be causing some weird stuff with the like the physics of the special effects and things.
Sure.
One other thing that's really cool, it's hard to do, but I'm going to try, is you can actually shoot the missiles out of the sky.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Nice.
So bam, bam, bam. Did not intend to do that, but all of that stuff that I had mentioned before about reprogramming the missiles to have like actual physics, like the new projectile system, that was like a nice side effect that came out of it. Is like, oh, actually, I
Mm.
can actually shoot these out of the sky now.
Yeah, that's
Neato.
cool. That's awesome.
So ta-da.
So let me ask you, Michael, if these missiles weren't locked on locally to the, let's just say the pilot, the hero ship,
Hmm.
what would they look like if they were actually in the real world space? Like, do the will the missiles even make it to hit the player?
No, because the drones uh, fire the missiles at where the player is when they fire.
Yeah,
So what then ends up happening is it would basically be like, so if I move up here and then let them shoot a bunch at me and then move down here, see all these missiles flying overhead like that?
yeah,
That's basically what it's like.
right.
Is the
Okay,
drones are
got it.
firing to where you were like
Sure,
a second ago,
sure.
which was the whole reason for having to move it into the same space so that way even if you're moving along the rail, if the player doesn't move, those missiles are still going to hit them, which is what I wanted.
Mm.
uh, Gameplay wise, I wanted it to be that if you don't move, you're going to get hit. So like right here, none of these missiles would have hit the player. They would have all flown back to where the player was when those drones first spawned in, right? But
Well,
now, if the player doesn't move, he gets hit. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
What if the missiles were traveling at a faster speed?
That's better than in world space. If they travel at a fast enough speed, that's basically, and at that point, it depends on how fast the player and the drones are moving on the rail. Because the faster that they're moving on the rail, then the faster those bullets get left behind in the world. But at this speed, because we're going pretty slow, we're only going at like 10 units per second here on the rail. But at this speed, if we increase the missile speed to be like really high projectile
Uh huh.
speed, um, we can have them exist in the world space and hit the player. In fact, I think that might be how I've got the laser bolts to work because
Uh huh.
those do not, I believe it's been a couple days since I was in there tweaking with this stuff, but I believe the laser bolts are in world space, and and we can get away with that because they move so much faster
Sure. Sure.
than the missiles.
Yeah.
But yeah, good questions. So there we go. Those are the big updates for the missiles. Another thing that I did,
That's so cool. By the way, that's
thank you.
awesome.
If I switch this back to Leapfrog and let's do mid. Um, this was something that I've been meaning to do for a really long time and didn't get around to until just recently, but I added firing for these guys, so now these guys can actually shoot at us. Um, and I don't know why the player's not taking damage. I must have, like I was saying earlier, one of the features that I've added must have broken this, so now this doesn't work. Um, but I programmed these guys so that way they can actually shoot, and they're using the same firing system as the. Oh, I think I know why it's not working. I bet it's because the player. Actually, if I go to prefabs, drones, this guy, open this guy up, gun. Aha! Yep, I knew it. So if I switch, so this little flag right here, this is that enum that I was talking about earlier,
Hmm.
where basically we can say like, who owns this gun? Is it a drone or is it the player? So now if I switch it to drone, it should work. So now when the drones shoot us, it should damage us unless something else is broken. Um, but that shows that the code. Yeah, there
Oh
we go. So now we're
yay!
taking damage.
Ouch! Ouch! Ouch!
Um, but see, so that shows like the code was working because when those lasers were hitting the player, they didn't know who shot them, so they couldn't damage the player.
Right.
But anyway, so I programmed in these guys to have a couple of different parameters that we can adjust, both in terms of DPS, like how much damage they do, burst fire, so you'll notice that they're kind of firing in triplicates, so each one shoots like 3 or 4 times. We can adjust that if we want them to shoot like a whole bunch at once. We could do that, or if we want them to shoot more or have like longer breaks in between shots. Those are all things that we can adjust. And I really didn't play with it that much because I just needed to get to like, is this functionality in the game? Can we balance it later? Yes, great. Moving on.
Mm.
Because that was really kind of the theme for me this week was, as I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, we're like really out of time and I need to move on and do other things. Um,
Nice.
yeah, that is that.
Nice.
There's one other thing that I can actually show you guys, and I'm going to can I just turn this gate? May I? I guess I can't change that here. Crap. We'll just have to deal with it. I would like to get your opinion, Chris, and the chat's opinion on the hit flash effect of the drones. So, like when I shoot this drone, you'll notice he flashes yellow, right?
Mhm.
And actually, let me. Can I adjust that yet? No. Let me just put in a couple more of these. We'll do like 15. Um, the way the hit flash code currently works is it's only flashing the one of the materials.
Yeah.
So you can see the
Color
like
one.
the eye doesn't flash and the black spots don't flash.
Yeah.
Originally that was like a bug that was just the way that the code was working. I went in and like rewrote it so that way it could flash everything, but I didn't like it.
Uh huh.
So I kind of left it with this. Like, what do you guys think? Like, does it look okay this way? Does it look a little weird?
I think it looks fine. The only comment that I have is that both the enemy and the hero, they both get the same highlight yellow Uh,
Hmm.
so I was wondering, can we change one of the
Sure.
other so that they can be different? But your original question, for me at least, it's not bothering me one bit.
Okay. Excellent. Great. And if anybody in the chat has got a strong opinion one way or the other about it, I would love to know. Yeah, because I was kind of playing around with it, but that's kind of like as Bob Ross would say, happy accident. I was like, oh, it
Mm,
actually looks kind of nice.
yeah,
Because I also don't want to flash like the red eye, like that ended up being a thing that was like it's kind of important to keep that as sort of like a focal target point. Um, but yeah, so I'm going to change the hit flash color for the player just so you can see a different color. Maybe
nice.
we'll do red. So if this works, if this works the way I think it should. By the way, destructible asteroids. There we go. Is
Yeah,
that better?
yeah, I think that's much better because yeah, now that you're being shot at and them being shot at simultaneously, you'll know like who's actually getting
Mm,
shot at.
a little bit more distinction on the screen, kind of
Yeah.
showing conveying the information to the player correctly. But like the things that you're shooting flash yellow, and then when you get hit, you flash red.
Yeah, Captain Blue says, I think it looks good. I would like to, as long as the shield is still there, an oval sphere flashing around the ship, so it's a
Hell
little bit
yeah.
different. Oh, yeah, that's a really good point. But Michael, what do you think? I mean, you're the game designer. You're the kind of expert on you know the design language, if you will. Should we keep it all? Should we keep both of them yellow because that programs the players to know that yellow signifies damage state, or does it not matter? And this is a question I'm just asking to you so that I can learn and from as a gamer POV.
Sure. Well, it's a bit tricky. That there's something that you're not seeing on screen right now that I really want us to add to the game, which might actually fall into the category of the 2D art assets on your homework coming up. Would be what makes our game a little bit unique compared to a lot of the rail shooter reference material that we're using is that you can actually see your character on screen.
Mm,
And a lot of the other games, and especially from first person games, this isn't a thing. Like even if you shoot other targets and they flash whatever color that they flash, you never do because you can't see yourself. But what a lot of them do is they have like a border around the screen that will like pulse red. So you'll kind of get this sort of like vignette that
mm,
is like bright glowing red that'll kind of like flash to let you know like, hey, you're taking damage. And even will go so far as to like have a red arrow point on the screen, like you're taking damage from this direction, so
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
that the player then can like look in that direction, see like, oh, what's shooting me over there?
mm-hmm.
Um, I think in some of the other, like if I'm thinking about Star Fox 64, I think when the player takes damage, they do flash, but I think they flash like like a bright blue, bright red, kind of like a police siren kind of color back and forth rapidly. But then when you shoot other things, I think they also flash that same color scheme. So at least from the case of Star Fox, they kind of like they made the decision to have to what you were saying, Chris, where there's like one color to indicate this thing is getting hit, this
Uh-huh.
thing's taking damage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So uh, I don't know. I don't feel super strongly about it. I kind of feel like I feel really strongly that the drones that we're shooting should stay yellow because that's like this big, vibrant color
Yeah,
that we really want to pop
yeah.
and to give the player that feeling of like, ooh, yeah, I'm doing a thing. Oh, wow, look at that asteroid fly out of there.
Nice. Well, I,
Um,
I just want to say, Michael, I leave the decision choice up to you, because I think this falls under the category of functionality. So that I think it really matters how we train the player, how they feel. Like yellow means being hit, and so that language should be used throughout the whole game and not being separated. So I leave that up to you, man. And Captain Blue Blue says, the Halo Call of Duty strawberry jam in my eyes effect.
yes, but hopefully not as bad as the strawberry jam, because man, when they started doing that in like Modern Warfare 2, I think it was, that was too much, man. Like
Mm, mm,
a little bit, just enough to like set off the color sensors in your eyes to be like, ooh, red, I don't want to see that color, but not so much that it actually like impairs your vision. Like
Yeah,
that's when it starts getting really, I don't like that.
yeah.
So yeah, pull, good pull, Captain Blue Blue, from the annals of video game history.
Yeah, he also says you could go really old school and do the Doom head portrait that gets more damage over time. Uh,
Yeah.
Cracks on the edges on the screen can do a lot. I think that's a lot of fun actually. I mean, you're joking,
Yeah.
but that's kind of cool. Cause
Well, go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry. Cause I was saying like even in like StarCraft, when you select on a unit, they have a little portrait of the SCV or little drone, or even Warcraft, right? You have a little portrait of that unit, and you could see him just animating there a little bit. And yeah, if he gets damaged, if our ship gets damaged, the portrait could be like, oh my god, and cracks on the screen. I think that's really cool too. Totoro says the Doom Wolfenstein effect would be great.
Yeah. So one of the other things that I would like to do is to kind of going back to one of the things that Captain Blue Blue said, and something we've talked about on stream before, is to have more visual indication for the shields, because I want there to be this distinction between when you're taking shield damage and when you're taking health damage. And one of the ways to do that would be to have like maybe instead of red on the screen, we can do like blue. And maybe as the
Mm,
shield gets closer and closer to being damaged, you've got like blue glass cracks that start appearing on the screen.
that's so cool.
Um, One of the things that happens in Overwatch for the shield tanks is the shield that you hold up has got this kind of like blue grid kind of a shimmer to it,
Yeah.
but as it takes damage, it starts to crack. And the first crack happens at 50%. So if you see any cracks on your shield, you know that it's at least 50% damage. And then when
Mm,
it gets down to, I think, like 25% or something, the cracks get even more intense.
yeah.
And eventually, it's very clear when it's about to break, because the thing, it looks like, a spider web of cracks on the
Right.
screen. So if we could do something like that, and then maybe have a visual like right around where the player's ship is, that bubble sort of thing, kind of
Mm.
like do a like a bubble pop,
Yeah.
to like really indicate like, oh shit, now my shield's gone. Now I really need to be paying attention because I'm gonna start taking direct damage to the hull.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So yeah, these are all really good notes, good tips, and definitely things that I would like us to explore. And granted, I think some of this stuff falls in the category of like things we don't need to figure out for the prototype necessarily. Because even what we have on screen right now, like this is totally functional. It's not balanced at all. Obviously, I'm taking way more damage than I think I should be. Um, but we have, I guess what I'm trying to like put a bow on that. We have plenty of opportunity to tweak and refine that as we go. But I think that these are all really good suggestions to give feedback to the player. Yeah, it's kind of
Co-
intense when you've got that many of them on screen.
Holy cow. And Gentleman Heavy weighs in. Hello, Gentleman Heavy. Good to have you
Hey,
here.
welcome back, gentlemen. Heavy.
He
Been a
says
while.
I would be 100% on board for the Doom Wolfenstein effect. Also, hi
All
everyone.
right. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that case, in case, are you familiar with what they're talking about, Chris?
It's been a while since I played Doom or Wolfenstein, but yeah, I think I'm a little bit I think I know what they're talking about, and I could
Okay.
obviously do my own research and kind of emulate that as well. Captain Blue says the Doom portrait would go along if the story cares about who the pilot is. This is far after beta, but I would like 2D avatars during story parts and radio calls.
Sorry, read that last part again. You would like 2D what?
He says, but I would like 2D avatars during story parts and
Ah,
radio calls.
totally.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Then you're in luck because I got a little something something for you later.
Oh,
But yes, I completely agree. I kind of lean more towards keeping the anonymity of the pilot. But what we could do is we could have like a two-dimensional like bird's eye view of the ship in one of the corners that maybe shows like the damage that the ship has taken. It's kind of a little bit redundant with what's going on with the health bars up at the top. But maybe we do that instead of the health bars at the top, or maybe there's some other mechanic where it's like Maybe you can actually, like Star Fox style, you can actually have your left wing get blown off, and then now you can only shoot with the right wing or
Mm,
something
mm, mm, mm.
ridiculous like that. And then maybe there's some kind of way to repair yourself later. Um,
That's actually
but
kind of cool.
yeah, so I mean, we are well into the adding, scope to the
Yeah.
game. Like, thank God there's no producer here because we're just we're way off the range or off the ranch at this point. But great suggestions. These are all really good suggestions, everybody.
Yeah,
So thank you.
thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
All right, so one other thing I'll show you here, I'm going to turn off all these gates, including that very first one, which you've kind of seen already, is this asteroid that's kind of been at the beginning of the level here that I really haven't done anything with. I had programmed previously the ability for us to shoot sort of like generic objects, but there was, at the time that I did that, I didn't have the programming chops to be able to make it work for these like prefabricated asteroids that I got from the Cinti Studios sci-fi asset kit. But I found out, I figured out how to do that. So I added functionality where now you can actually shoot these asteroids. They have their own health bar. They flash. When you shoot them, they blow up just like anything else. Um, the other thing that's cool
Nice.
about them is you can crash into them. So
Oh
if I don't
no.
shoot this guy,
Oh no.
uh, I can actually take damage.
Oh god.
Boom.
Oh
So
jeez.
yeah, and I set it to like, granted, none of the like numbers are balanced at this point or like final, but I wanted this to be like a pretty big deal, so I had it do 85 damage. So you'll see that the shield when it gets hit, um, oh, I got hit twice,
Come on.
so I lost. Yeah, and that's to like incentivize the player to like, hey, this thing's not going to shoot at you. It's slow moving. You have plenty of time to either dodge it or shoot it.
Yeah.
Make sure you do, because if you don't, you will be penalized quite heavily. So can I get out of the way this one? Nope, not quite far enough. So that particular one is like right in the middle. So I'm going to have to shoot it uh, so as not to crash.
Is there this is adding scope, but is there any way we could show like a little animation when it does crash into the asteroid, like it does like doosh, like yeah.
Yes. That's something that has been on my like polished to-do list for a while, because you're talking about like when I get hit there, be
Yeah.
like, have
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
player
yeah,
ship
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely want to do that both for the player ship and also the drones. When you're shooting the drones, it'd be great if they were like,
Mm.
wobbling with each shot. Um, it's honestly, it's probably not that difficult to code, because what I would probably do is just go in and make like a slight random adjustment to the rotation
Mm.
to like flick the thing
Oh,
a
sure.
little bit.
Yeah.
I think that would work, but that's on my like, let's
Maybe yeah, later. Yeah.
do some other things first. Worry about that thing a little bit later.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but yeah,
Nice.
so shootable asteroids.
That's so cool. Heavy says, think like the radio calls from the old school Metal Gear series. You could use just a
Yeah.
generic helmet fighter pilot as a player's portrait. Yeah. Captain Blue Blue asks, did the asteroid take damage too when you crashed into it? And Heavy says,
Correct.
it did. Neat. Blue Blue says
Yeah.
the asteroid could easily be repurposed to be metal debris in the corridor level too.
Ooh, hell yeah. Yeah. Yep. That's a really good point. Um, yeah. So, and in fact, actually, I can jump back over there and kind of show you a little bit of what's going on under the hood with that. Just because you brought that up. So when I click on the asteroid here, I have this script, which I think you can see. Hopefully my head's not blocking it. Yeah, you can see it. So this up here, this destructible object script, is basically, this has all the code that lets us do that. So I can actually change how much damage this does when you collide with it. So instead of 85, we can change that to 15.
Mm,
How many hit points does it have? Like, maybe we want this thing to be really strong, and you've got to shoot it 100 times to blow
mm,
it up.
mm.
So now when we go into here, if I start shooting this thing, you'll see like
Oh
I'm
god!
not
Oh
doing
god!
hardly any
Oh
damage.
god!
But when I get hit, well, I got hit like 3
Wow.
times. But yeah, so it's really easy to like make these adjustments now, and this is cool for like fine tuning and balancing to kind of get a feel for like, does it feel like it takes too long to shoot that asteroid? Does it do too much damage? Does it not do enough damage? But yeah, so I can add this to basically anything. So if I click on this object here, this like cube, and maybe move this guy to where I can actually shoot him. Whoops. Let me move this up here. At least I hope this is going to work. Destructible object, and then hit play. This may be broken. I haven't tried this. Hey!
Oh,
Boom.
oh,
It
nice.
didn't flash, but and I have a
Wait, yeah, it did.
feeling, I have a
Did
suspicion why it didn't flash.
it did not? Yeah, it did. It flashed, didn't it?
I don't think it did. Did it?
Oh,
No, it's
oh, oh,
not
never mind,
flashing.
never mind, never mind. Sorry.
But it does have its little health bar, and it's and that is actually like another thing that I added that's like on the back end, not very interesting, but for me is like, oh my god, it's so much easier to do it that way. You'll see that like with the, and actually I'm gonna get rid of this guy, get him out of the way. With the asteroid, he doesn't have like there's no health bar associated with this object. What happens is when the laser bolt collides with the asteroid, and if I close this, we should be able to see it over here. If you watch here, when I shoot the asteroid, you'll see that this drone health bar suddenly appeared in the hierarchy, right?
Yeah, right.
Basically what I did is I programmed it to be its own sort of prefab. So in the prefabs, the drone health bar is this guy. So I just created like this prefab and then told the laser bolt or the asteroid, like when you get hit, if you don't have one of these, instantiate one. So just like summon one
Oh,
and then start running the code on it to like update how much health you have. Which is great because then that means any object like this random cube that I just grabbed, like bam, suddenly it can also have a health bar, even though I never programmed it to have one. Now it can just do that dynamically while the game is running.
nice.
Which yeah, for like again, that's one of those things that's like you guys already saw health bars before, so it like it doesn't look any different to me. On the back end though, it's like a huge weight off my shoulders because now I know like, oh, it's just gonna instantiate dynamically.
Nice.
Okay, so thank you for bringing up the point about the destructible object stuff and how we can use that in Scene 4 too. I think that's a really good idea, and we'll definitely see some of that. Moving back to our outline here of what we added. Oh, I guess we kind of already talked about this, drone obstacles. Yep, the new laser fire system for the T-drones, which we already talked about. The asteroids are shootable. Oh, crap, I clicked it away. There's also, so the scene miscellaneous stuff. Oh, this is what I was just talking about, the new instantiated version of the drone health bar. The new event trigger system. Oh, so this is cool, and we'll see this in a second when we get to number 5 down here. This is a new piece of code that I added to the gates to basically allow them to tell other objects to do behaviors when they get triggered. So we'll take a look at that if we have time and it's interesting. Oh, this is another thing that's like really great for me, but it probably doesn't matter, definitely doesn't matter to the player at all. So it's basically this like Rail debugger script, which if I switch back to Unity, just so you know what the heck it is, if I click on the player rail, so here's our player rail, this green thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the player rail has got all these nodes on it. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blah, 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 all the way to 21 for this one. And you can see those nodes here. So each one of these is one of those waypoints. So, that's number 0, that's number 1, that's number 2 right there. And what this shows you is this shows you the X, Y, and Z positions, but only relative to the parent object, which is this whole player rail. So I can move this whole thing in space, right? And you see when I do that, these numbers don't change. That's because these numbers are relative to that parent object. Which means that I can't see from this where these nodes are in world space. Another thing that's a problem is we have the path length up here. So this is basically how long this path is. It's just kind of like an arbitrary number of units. It's just like how far is the distance between 0 and 21? It's 1155 path units. But what's helpful about that is that I know that if I'm at point at excuse me, if I'm at point 0, or if I'm at distance 0, so if I click on the player rig, this will make a little bit more sense. Or actually, where is the core? Here we go. The track card. So this dolly card is the thing that basically attaches to the rail and then moves along the rail.
Hmm.
And the position, this number tells you where along the path you are in those distance units. So when we saw it was 1155, if I tell this thing, and actually I guess I could do another player rig here. If I tell this to start at 600 and hit play, you'll see that we start well, maybe a little bit hard to tell, but you can see that's where the player ship is. He's already
Right.
halfway down the rail.
Yeah.
The problem is, and the reason for that code is, where's that rail, player rail, is this doesn't tell me the distance. So if I wanted to know, like, well, how far down the rail is, node number 4? Well, I don't know. I have no idea.
Hmm.
So that debug script allows me to get that information. So
Hmm.
actually, I should be able to do this if I add the rail debugger and then log waypoints and then hit play. What we'll see here is now in the debug log, we've printed out the location for each of these waypoints, and then this is the really important number after the @ sign, is that's the distance, which for us, for the player, for you guys, is probably like, big deal, who cares? For me, it's like, oh man, that makes it so much easier to program this stuff,
Sure.
because I can specify, like, I want to, like, I'm debugging a thing, I don't want to start at the beginning of the rail, I want to go to node number 17. What distance is that? Instead of guessing, I can just turn on the debugger and go like, oh, node 17 is at 935. So then I can just say, have the player ship start at 935 for
Right.
debugging
Right.
purposes. So anyway, that's just another case of something that's like important to build on the back end, but doesn't end up resulting in anything that's like sexy. All right, so switching back to here and scrolling. The final thing that I have to show tonight that I think is probably the most exciting, I finally got around to starting to work on an actual legitimate first draft of level 1, scene 1.
Yeah. Cool.
So I have that to show you guys, and I have a lot to say about it from like a creative perspective, but we'll get into that afterwards. First, I'll just show it to you.
Nice.
The only things to bear in mind, it's a first draft, work in progress, and it's only, I think, about the first half or so of what I want to happen in the level. Yeah, hopefully we dig it, but I'm absolutely looking forward to receiving constructive feedback. But without further ado, let's jump into it.
Captain Blue says, "Woohoo! Party!"
Yeah!
All right. Pay attention, guys. Pay attention.
Here we go.
All eyes on the screen.
And
Initiating.
hopefully it's not broken. So let me make sure this, okay, he's in start position 0. Yep, okay, great.
Calculating.
Um, There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and maximize this. So I think,
We're doing it, guys. We're doing
yeah.
it.
All right. So here we go. And I'm gonna read some stuff out for you as we go. Here it goes, level 1.
Oh, look at that. Whoa, cool.
All right, folks, we're in the asteroid belt now, and I can shoot these asteroids.
Nice.
Watch out for asteroids.
You have to do it in a female voice because it's a female avatar.
I'll do my best.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Shoot to clear a path.
Nice. Come
So
on,
now we got a
y'all.
whole bunch in the way here. Oh no, I
Oh,
gotta
jeez.
get this.
Oh,
Because
God.
whew, that was close. Bam, 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 bam. Got a bunch of asteroids still in the way. All right, that's all clear there. Great. Oh crap, these ones are coming for us. Ah. Oh
Oh,
no.
jeez. Oh,
Oh,
God.
got me. I wasn't fast enough. All right, listen up. We're just outside the perimeter of the mining colony. Alpha
Uh,
Team was sent in to respond to the distress signal coming from the colony. The good news is the distress signal stopped. The bad news is we lost contact with Alpha Team. Our mission: make contact with Alpha Team and check on the colony. Stay alert. Over and out. And
nice.
then now we're flying some more. So outside the perimeter of the colony, of the mining colony, responding to a distress call. The Alpha Team, for whatever reason, we lost contact with them.
Yeah.
Hmm. Looks like we got something up ahead here. What might this be? Damn, that's an Alpha Team ship. No life readings. Keep moving. Stay alert. Whoa!
Oh, geez, what the hell is that?
The hell is that?
What the fuck?
Evasive maneuvers. And that's as far as I've gotten.
It's pretty cool.
So I'll play it again for y'all. And I'll kind of walk you through like what I'm thinking here. And also the timing for the dialogue still needs some work. I've got it set up to like when you pass through gates, like the dialogue pops up, and I've been trying to code it so that way it like dynamically stays on screen longer for the longer ones and shorter for the shorter ones. But then there are also some of them are kind of like overriding each other. But at the very beginning here, I didn't want things to be too crazy because I want to give the players the opportunity to like learn the controls and how to
Right.
fly around.
Right.
So I wanted this whole first section to just be asteroids, things that can't really fight back, but that you have to actually shoot in order to like learn like, okay, that's what happens when I shoot things. They flash yellow, they get a health bar. What happens if I
Oh,
don't shoot
geez.
it? Like, oh, I crash and look, I lost my shield.
Right.
Okay. And then once you've kind of like cleared some of those things, then we start getting a little bit of story stuff. And so we're getting our dialogue from I guess, our captain. This is just a generic piece of like a space pilot art that I got off the internet.
Mm.
And she's kind of like giving us a little bit of information about what we're doing, what's going on here, a little bit of a breather after the asteroid stuff. I think I still want to add some more asteroids for you to shoot here, so that way it's not like just dead space. Pun not intended. And then this section here, maybe a couple more asteroids too, because this feels like a pretty long blank space. But I also wanted to give a little bit of opportunity for you to kind of see the smoke that's going on there and be like, oh, what's behind this asteroid here? Like, what's going on?
Oh,
And then
geez.
be able to see like one of our ships,
Oh, no.
and it's like on fire, and that doesn't look good. And then I wanted this moment where, like, after you've, and I might push this back a little bit more because obviously this is like right at the end of like how far I gotten. But I wanted to create this moment where, in the wake of the discovery of the Alpha Team wreckage, you kind of get ambushed by these other drones,
Right.
or
Right. Right. Right.
by your first encounter with a drone that then leads to the back half of the level. The level will be a lot more drones that you're fighting. Um, I also really want to add in teammates into this section where you've got your wingmen flying with you, maybe some additional teammates flying out of the ship over here, to kind of create a little bit more interest. And the idea is that like this is the response team arriving at the asteroid field, and so there's like these 3 ships that are part of that. And actually, one thing that I want to share: originally we had just this one ship, and you were kind of like flying out of that ship. But I really wanted to convey to the player this like I wanted them to feel that sense of scale for the ship, and to really get a good sense of like, oh wow, cool, there's like big ships here. And I had originally like had the player fly out of this ship and then kind of do a U-turn and kind of fly around up here and then go around that way. Um, and that really wasn't working. It wasn't working for a couple of reasons. One of which was um, like giving the impression that you're in an asteroid field becomes really difficult when you have to do like a full 360 here, just like right up at the front. There's like all kinds of asteroids that I need to plug into that space.
Yeah.
And it also felt kind of jarring to be like immediately coming out of the the mouth of the ship down here and like doing a turnaround. I'll try to like simulate it here. Like flying out of here and then immediately like doing this and being like super close to the ship and like, oh, that's it just didn't feel quite right. And one of the things that I noticed in playing Star Fox was their levels tend to be really linear, and when you're like flying, having these moments where you're like close to a big ship to get a sense of scale, they kind of do it like this, where there's a fleet that's kind of like in position and you're flying past them. So I just kind of stole that idea wholesale
Hmm.
and put it into our game and said like, okay, instead of it being just one ship, we're gonna do like a small fleet of these sort of like carriers. That way we can have these moments where the player is flying close to these big ships without having to do that like crazy U-turn stuff. So that was one of the reasons why I chose to do that. Um, but yeah, before I talk any further, I realize I should solicit feedback. So really rough draft. Don't hold back. If you think it sucks, tell me. But what do y'all think?
I think it's good. With what you said about when you initially get launched out, we don't need to kind of wrap ourselves around the mothership just to get a sense of scale. Um, I think once we launch out, we see our neighboring ship. It's like, oh, okay. I'm guessing we are launching out of the similar ship, right? And the whole wrapping around effect, we could do that later on in this in scene one. It doesn't have to be you know right during the launch, right? Because yeah, I think this absolutely works. And the only thing, like right here, if you pause right here, the only thing that's bothering me is yeah, there you go. It's the largeness of the dialogue box. It's really and obviously this is like still very rough. I'm hoping
Sure.
that whatever we design is going to be a little bit it's going to be much more sexier and sleeker and have the shape, have the high tech sci-fi shape with the vectorizing and everything. It's going to look a lot better. But yeah, as long as the people are able to see it, I think that will work. But yeah, everything it looks good. One thing I will say, and I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna take it right back because I know exactly why you did it the way you did. Initially, when I look at it, it feels slow. Like when we're actually flying, it feels very very slow. But I know exactly why it's slow is because in order to get a sense of speed we have to like fly extremely fast, and that doesn't really help us at all. um yeah, yeah, so but I would say everything that we've seen so far, it looks great. Your placement of the asteroids looks really really good. um yeah, the scale of things looks good. You got like storytelling elements with it. You see our buddy ship that's like on fire, and then all of a sudden we get ambushed. You definitely showed the storytelling aspects of it. I think it's great, man.
Yeah, really good notes. And so I doubled the speed just now, just so you can kind of see it like moving at a little bit of a faster pace. And that's the speed is not set in stone. That's definitely something we could adjust. I specifically chose it to be slower at that moment to allow, because the assumption has to be that somebody could be playing that section for the very first time and has like never touched the game
Yeah,
before,
yeah,
and we don't want to immediately throw them into like
perfect,
there's all kinds of crazy shit happening and it's happening really fast.
perfect.
um
Sure.
Kind of like gently ease them into it, but then later on we really can move pretty fast. There's
Yeah,
definitely going to be a limit where like if as we've seen before, where we're kind of like we can reach the point where we're going so fast we're outpacing the lasers.
right.
um that becomes a problem, but
Hmm.
until then, yeah, we can certainly play with it and see
Yeah.
what feels right.
No, that's awesome. All right, so I'm gonna read the chat. Here we
Yeah,
go.
please.
Totoro says, very excited. Totoro also says, a Southern Belle. Commander became a Southern Belle. Captain Blue says, "I do declare we have a Yankee bot raiding our minds. Oh my!" And Captain Blue says, "Very cool." Totoro says, "I love how Southern Belle is internationally identified with the voice Michael uses. Flowers for me? I do declare, Mr. Beauregard." And Captain Blue says, "Yeah, you know Southern Belle when you hear them way down south in the land of traders, rattlesnakes and alligators." so so far
Nice.
so far, no feedback for us yet, except your beautiful Southern Belle voice.
There
Uh,
we go. Well,
Cap-
that's gonna have to go in the game then.
yeah, Captain Blue says, "I think we should we should be launched out with our wingmen like in Star
Hmm.
Fox." He also says, "I think the ships needs to be larger to convey the scale these ships would have to be." I also think the ships
I
needs
think
to
he's
be
talking
bigger.
about the carrier ships need to be larger.
Yeah, right. I think so. I think so too. This also shows the importance of the UI will have while dialogue is showing. As of now, it covers up the players during the combat. Yeah, so basically what I said. But right now, obviously, this is just placeholder UI graphics. We'll make it sexier. We'll make it sexier.
Hmm.
Heavy,
Totally.
Heavy says the text box could also be slightly more translucent to aid in visibility. Yep, absolutely heavy. Blue Blue says I assume the dial box is not worked on, so I'm not too worried about how it looks now. Yeah. Overall, I love this. End of chat.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks
Yeah.
for the feedback, guys. Yeah, that's all great. Um, the one thing that I'll talk about there is the scale of the ships. Um, yeah, scale is really tricky. Like way more difficult than I would have thought. Like when Chris and I first started working on this game, I would not have expected this to be as challenging as it is. Um, I figured you just like, yeah, if you want to make something big, just make it big. Um, it becomes really difficult though to convey a sense of like movement and speed and not make the game feel really slow when you make something really big. So what I actually ended up doing with these ships is they're actually half the size that they've been um, in the previous sort of like sandbox levels that I've shown you with this ship. It was basically twice as the size that it is right now. So like this one was this size normally.
Mhm.
I shrunk it down in order to allow that sense of speed and movement because and actually what I can do this might let me go ahead and make this fully big and then let me just get the player rail and make sure I'm not where the heck is the player rail? Is it complete? Why can't I see it?
Blue Blue says head
Uh,
cannon commander
there it goes.
is a Southern Belle now.
Yeah, it's canon. It's official. Uh, let's see how this looks. Hopefully, I don't completely prove myself wrong. Um,
Mm,
yeah, it actually looks pretty good.
yeah, it's
But we are going at, I think, twice the speed that we were going at normally. Yeah. So this is, if I switch this back to like this original speed that I had, it's going to feel slower, even slower than it was.
yeah. Yep.
And it's because when you're moving against something that's that big, you have to move so much
Very
further
fast. Yeah.
in order to like cover that same amount of ground. So there's this weird trade-off between like a sense of scale and speed because
Mhm.
now this feels like even slower than it
Slower.
was before,
Yeah.
even though the ship is bigger. So honestly, I want a like big grand sense of scale, but it's tricky. Like and I don't know what the solution is to.
What if we had more smaller asteroids so that we could be zipping
Hmm.
past by them, right? The bigger ships could remain the same, but essentially we get a sense of speed is when we zip past stuff. That's how we know we're going fast, right? So if we create like little tiny yeah, exactly, like make them small so that we're zipping about by past them, that could kind of help us with a sense of speed.
So well, yeah, and these are all going to be rotating at the same. um,
Yeah, yeah.
they're all like duplicated. But yeah, maybe that'll help a little bit. Let's see. Now I've got a whole
Uh,
bunch more shit to shoot though.
uh, mm,
I mean, I think it helps. I don't know that it's quite achieving the effect that we're looking for
No, it's
because I think
can you
we
make
want
them?
the
Can you make them even smaller and then more of them? Just yeah.
not quickly.
Oh,
Well,
okay, all right.
let's see here. Point, maybe point oh 0.05, 0.5,
And then put
and
it
then
closer to the track so that we're like zipping back past them a lot faster.
that's really far away. That's pretty close-ish.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And while I'm doing this, one of the other things you may have noticed is the asteroid field is like completely clustered around the rail. Like it
Mhm,
doesn't
mhm.
actually go out into the distance. And a lot of that's like very deliberate because it would be really difficult to put to like actually build an asteroid field. So
Yeah,
I'm doing a lot of like, theme park magic here to just kind of convey the idea. I think it's starting here is all of these guys. And yeah, I think it's pretty effective. Like I don't think it feels like
yeah,
crowded at all. I think like the illusion is very well effected.
yeah. I think worked. Plus the what was it called? Oh God, the map, the background map. I forget what's it called now.
Hmm. The
Had
skybox?
Skybox. Thank you. God. It has the little white dots, so that definitely adds
Mm-hmm.
some noise to the background. But yeah, no, thanks. This is great, Michael. What you're doing. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this helps convey the. It helps. Feels like we're passing, zipping by stuff quickly.
And well, I guess to do a one-to-one comparison, I'll leave it at
Yeah,
15,
yeah,
but
yeah,
then I
yeah,
can always speed it up
yeah.
so we can get a feel for it. Oh, I guess those were so close they collided with each other. Um, I can adjust the rotation so they don't all rotate at the exact same thing. I can show you that in a second. But yeah, I think that's helping a lot actually.
Yeah. So we're actually flying by stuff. It helps. It helps.
Totally. Yeah, it helps a lot. Yeah, because now that we're not flying past those little ones, it feels like
Oh
we
God.
slowed down. I'm terrible at this game.
Oh God.
Things have too much health, but I kind of feel like they should have a lot of health.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so there's that. Let's try it one more time. Let's actually go a little bit more than double. Not quite triple, but because we were at 15, now we're at 40. Well, it is
Ooh.
fast.
Ooh. Whoa.
Wow. Oh my
Whoa.
God.
Whoa. Whoa. This is awesome. I like this. Holy cow. Oh my God.
What I think we can do is maybe after the so we'll continue to have this first section be slow and easy.
Uh huh.
Once the drones appear though, then we can be like, all right, everybody to attack speed, and then we can actually speed things up, and then maybe you can have that kind of like chaos where you're actually. I'll just put that back.
Yeah.
Um, you can have this kind of speed that we're going to see here, where you're flying through the asteroids and really having to like bob and weave and also shoot drones that are going to be in there. And maybe the drones are colliding with asteroids. Um, oh man, yeah, it's going to be really frenzied. Holy crap.
And I think that's a great idea. Start off slow, and then you like you said, and then at a certain point, we kind of go into booster mode, and then that's where the trail from the energy trails will start. Yeah, we'll when we push
Mm-hmm.
turbo, it'll
Sure.
start, and then at that time, I think. We can transition like kind of like like a soothing type of music at the beginning, and then when we start going fast, then we'll increase the tempo,
Yeah.
like doom 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 doom. Like I don't
Hell
know.
yeah.
So it'll it'll be cool. Let me read the chat really quick. The size of the ships here could be considered escort or corvette class or the like. The spearhead of the response force, if you will. Yeah. Combat.
Love it.
Captain says, yeah, something like that. Totoro says, man, the fast is cool. Can you make the asteroids weaker so you can get through them?
Sure.
Yeah. And Heavy says, kick the tires and light the fires. Punch that afterburner, baby. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Why do I know that? Kick the tires and light the fire. Where is that from?
I'm not going to tell you. That's a trivia question.
Oh
It's not
God.
actually a trivia question this week, but I'll give you a second.
Kick the tires and light the fire. Oh God, that's so familiar. What is that from?
It's probably from a couple of things, but there's one in particular that bet I bet you're thinking of, but you can't remember.
Is that from StarCraft? One of the carriers,
Oh,
spaceships.
oh,
Let's
maybe.
kick the tires.
Is it the SCV? Does the SCV say
No,
that?
no, no. I don't think so. I think it's a drop ship. It's the female pilot. She's like saying 5 by 5, and then let's kick the
Oh yeah,
tires and
yeah,
light
yeah.
the fires, or something like that. Something. Gentleman Heavy, please let me know. And if you know, Michael, please give me the answer.
So the one that I was thinking of is Independence Day. Um,
Oh yeah, that's right. Will Smith says that.
yeah, it's either Will Smith or what's the his like wingman, Billy something, Billy. I can't remember the actor's name, but he's got like his like Texas buddy or whatever.
Right. That couldn't breathe, and he took his mask off, and then he got blown up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Captain Blue says, "I love the idea of slow in the beginning and then frenzy escape slash chase
Hell yeah.
question mark from the drones to the field. Yeah, that's cool. Man, so much possibilities we could have.
Yeah, really good feedback from you guys tonight. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one of the things that you want to do with, or, this is like both my own design philosophy, but also what I've learned from analyzing a lot of rail shooters is you want pace. You want like a different rhythm. You want to have little sections that are slower and breathers where there's nothing to shoot, where you can go, and then you want sections that are just like there's so much shit going on the screen, it's crazy, and you're like, I can't shoot all these things, and you want to create that sense of like harried chaos for the player, but
Mm-mm-mm.
you need to punctuate that with moments where it's slower or there's nothing happening, or where there's like more controlled chaos where it's like you need to there's not a lot going on screen, but you need precision. There's like a drone way out in the distance and you need to snipe him.
Yeah.
um, Creating this variety of things will help make the game not feel like you're just being visually and emotionally assaulted for
Right.
40 minutes
Right.
straight.
Right.
You kind of want a bit of a variety, if you
Evan.
will.
Evan Flow. That's right. Yeah, totally. Totoro says, "Oh man, 10 seconds, close." He says it's from Starship Troop. What? This is from Starship Troopers?
Oh,
I
really?
what? Wow, who said that line then? I can't remember. Oh yeah, not Starship Trooper. It was the wingman who dies. Oh yeah. So it was the that wingman from Independence Day. Kept
I mean, I think it's a pretty common military phrase, though, so it could very well be in Starship Troopers as well. I
uh
don't know.
Heavy says I know it from Top Gun. Oh, there you go. Top Gun says it.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I guess it must be an Air Force thing.
Yeah. Captain Blue says, plus in jet fighter movies, there are always scenes where pilots panics about bogeys all around them, and they always
Yeah,
have the time to tell everyone about it during it too. Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. Well.
Um, Good suggestion, Totoro, on reducing the health of the asteroids. At least at this speed, this is much more appropriate. I dropped everything down to 5 hit points, and now we're actually getting through there pretty well.
Yeah.
Though I think at the slower speeds, it's a little bit more breathtaking and intense when you've got to shoot them longer. So for this opening section, what we'll probably do is slower speed, more HP on the asteroids, and then in the later sections, when you're actually fighting drones and moving really fast, we'll reduce the health of the asteroids. That way, they're not quite so oppressive. So yeah, really good suggestions. Oh,
Yeah.
one thing, I guess kind of like a question slash favor to ask you, Chris, is when I think most of the asteroids that I've gotten from the off the shelf stuff look really good, like the small ones. But when I take those and blow them up, they look like so awful and polygonal. Um, would it be would you have room on your docket to
Of course.
make a nice big one that doesn't look all polygonal?
I will say the political, the polit, poly,
Polygonal?
polygonal. Wow, that's hard for me to say. Uh,
Polygonal.
Polygon
Polygonal.
polygonal. I personally think they look great. But yes,
Oh,
I
okay.
no, no, but I agree with you. At this large scale, it does look a little bit chunky. So what I can do is I could break it up a little bit, so that they don't look as chunky. So
Okay.
can you give me that file, export it as a FBX for me, and then I could do whatever I need to do in order
Sure.
to make it look nice. Because the way they designed it, it looks great. I mean, I think they did a better job than I did with my asteroids. My asteroids look not as good in my opinion. So yeah, give that to me and I will break it down a little bit more so that it doesn't look as polygonally. Yeah,
Nailed it.
yeah.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah, no
that
problem,
sounds
man.
fantastic.
Yeah, just send me the FBX and I will do whatever I have to do. Captain Blue says the they have a missiles locked on me. Let me radio it in. Yeah, that's right. Captain Blue says the polygonal polygonal is a real break in looks compared to everything else. I hate it. Yeah, we'll make it look nice. We'll make it look nice.
I have
Fi-
full faith that Chris will be able to make it look very sexy.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Polygonal.
Um,
Poly. Blah, blah, blah.
yeah. So, there you go. That's what I've got for scene one so far.
Holy
My
crap.
plan, I guess now we can kind of move into my next steps, and then I also want to show you guys a couple of things because this is the Creative Tavern, a little bit about my creative process for getting to this and some of my challenges and struggles because there were many.
Mm.
Um, but for next steps, what I'm gonna try to do, and one of the reasons why we're seeing this and not more like drone behavior stuff is because there's a whole bunch of other drones that I just haven't gotten to. If I go back into like the attack lab, let's go ahead and save all those things. And I click on that drone spawn gate here. I have like all these different types of like drone patterns and different drone behaviors that I wanted into the game. Um, but it was just taking too long to get all of these in there. So I said, okay, I'm not going to program any more of these. We already have the missile drone, we've got the laser drone, we've got a working leapfrog drone, which is the like regular T drone who kind of like zooms around in front and then starts shooting you, and we've got the evasive drone. All these other ones are just going to have to wait. If I can get to them, if there's extra time before the prototype needs to launch, then great, I'll do them then. If they don't get in by the prototype, then they'll become add-ons for our 12-month plus social media blitz and plussing the game and all that stuff. So I mean, that was frustrating for me. That kind of felt like a defeat to not be able to get all of those in there. But I was at a point where it's like, we are like really out of time, man. Like we
Mm.
need to start making these levels. So I made that decision. We're just not going to have those for now. If I can get these programmed back in, I'm going to do that. But if not, we at least have enough, I think, with like between the asteroids and the ones that I already do have in there, that there's enough variety. Um, but I really wanted to start working on the levels. So I'm gonna try to have the back half of scene one done, and then hopefully all of scene two by the next time we talk. If those go really well, which probably won't, but if they do go really well, then I'll also start getting into scene three. Um, but my plan for you guys for next week is to see the rest of scene one, and then also all of scene two. Um, so that's my plan. And unless there's any questions, I've got a couple of things that I can show you guys in terms of like how I got to this, like what I did to build this out. Um,
Yeah, and Captain Blue says I don't see it as a defeat. It's just realistic.
yeah, I mean, yes, you're completely correct. And the logical part of my brain knows that, but the emotional side of my brain won't let go of like, that tisk tisk tisk. Michael under delivering, that sort of thing. Which that was a demon I struggled with a lot this
Mm,
week,
mm,
especially because like it's great to get your guys' feedback and that and everybody seems like really positive about this, but I was like so underwhelmed with this scene. I was like, this is not good enough. I'm really disappointed with how this turned out. Uh, but that's just the nature of doing creative stuff. Is you're always going to be, well, almost always going to be disappointed with the things that you make, and you're gonna have to fight these creative demons. And they're tough. They're difficult to deal with.
yeah.
Um, I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but I want to show you guys. One of the first things that I did to kind of like tackle this, in addition to all of the work that we've been doing over the previous couple of weeks, was I did this a sort of brainstorm. And what I like to do usually is go and look at other references that have already succeeded. That way I can see, like, okay, well, what did they do? How did they solve these problems? What are the things that I can learn from somebody or a team who's already done it? And so this whole section here, I went back and looked at Star Fox 64, and I looked at a couple of the different missions where they're flying through asteroid fields or through like a space fleet battle or space debris, those kind of levels. And I just started making notes about like, okay, what am I seeing? What's going on here? Um, for example, there was a theme of these like small to medium sized asteroids that the player can shoot or dodge. But then later there's a different color of them that are invulnerable and can't be shot, so they're kind of like made of a different, I don't know, material or something. And then there were also some like streams of asteroids that weren't just like sitting in space, but were actually like flying towards the player, or flying like perpendicular to the player, that created this sort of like a river almost of asteroids that you would then have to kind of like thread the needle through, which I thought was really cool.
Mm,
Which is not in the level we just saw, but maybe something that I would like to add.
nice.
Um, and anyway, I'm not going to read through all of this. If you'd like, you can certainly pause the video later, either on YouTube if you're watching this, or on a VOD, the Twitch VOD. But basically, these are just my notes of like just things that I noticed that I thought like, oh, that's cool. Like maybe we could do that. And then once I had all of that, then I kind of started like hashing out the sort of storyline for what I wanted to happen in our game.
Mhm, mhm.
And then really, this is kind of like everything that you. This is like a rough draft, the rough draft of the rough draft, of the sort of like beat by beat story things, right? Where we get like, okay, there's this distress call from the mining colony. There was an initial response team that was sent in, but good news, the distress signal stopped, but then we lost contact with them. Yada yada yada. You guys saw all this in the game. And so I kind of just laid out in text like what I thought this was going to be like. And there's a couple of things in here that I was like, oh, maybe I need to do this in the game. Like, for example, one of the things that I thought was like when you get to the player wreckage, maybe there should be some code where the ship kind of like, spins around and actually like does a loop around the wreckage and kind of like looks at it. Um, I did that. I did a version like that. I didn't really like it, so I ended up switching it to what you saw now, where we kind of just slow down and kind of cruise by the wreckage. I think that's enough to kind of convey what's going on. Um, but anyway, that's what that note means. Um, and then, oh yeah, this was an idea that I put like as art to do. Like this might be a thing to ask Chris. I don't think we need to do this now, uh, but I thought like it might be cool if, as part of the back half of scene one, once you've encountered the drones, your wingmen will then be like, oh man, we need to call for backup. Like there's a whole mess of these things. But we can't call for backup. Our communications are jammed.
Yeah.
And so one of your wingmen would like break away and be like, all right, I'm gonna try to get out of the asteroid field. I think the drones are jamming us. I'm gonna try to go call for help. So then he peels away and you don't see him anymore. But then could be these sort of like these radar jammer type devices, and I think we can just the stuff that they're like props that you've made, Chris, from like scene 2 and 4, we can just jam some things together to make
Mhm.
something that looks like that.
Sure.
And then pepper a couple of those on asteroids that you would then need to like shoot to try to disrupt the communications jamming tech that they're using, so that way you can actually get a call for help out.
Right.
Um, and then I thought it would be really cool if once you've like destroyed some of those towers, or a little while later after your wingman has actually gotten out of the asteroid field and has called for help, then you have like the remainder of the fleet arrives, or an additional detachment appears.
That's cool.
And so then you can have like that really cool like Revenge of the Sith big space battle thing where you're like flying into all these ships and they're like zooming in and drones everywhere. Um, we'll see.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. We'll see what I can get in there by next week. But anyway, I kind of wrote that stuff down there, and then from there, to kind of help visualize a little bit more, I went into I did a couple of little like sketches where I was like, okay, I'm just gonna draw a little, the capital ship here, and then we're gonna fly out of there with like our wingmen, and then start kind of like bobbing and weaving through the asteroids and shooting a couple of them. And then once you get through there, after you've shot that, then you're gonna come to like the wreckage and see like, oh man, there's Alpha Team. Like this ship got shot down. Like that's bad. And then after you're done there, like that's when the drone pops out. Like, whoa, crap! There's a drone here. So you deal with that guy, and then when you fly a little bit further, then you've got like the full, complement of drones appear and start fighting with you. Oh, and then this was like that wingman who's like, oh man, I'm gonna go get backup. Stay tuned. I'll be back later. In the spirit of our cowardly wingmen, always fleeing from danger at every opportunity. Um, but anyway, then that's basically it for those sketches. But it was just a way for me to kind of like create this sort of visual map of this happens, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens. Sort of like a little 2D high level outline of what I wanted that level to look like.
Yeah, that's cool.
Um,
That's cool. You essentially did like a storyboarding, a quick
hmm,
storyboarding in order before you actually made the level in Unity. This is a great way to visualize before you actually executing, the game level. That's awesome.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, I did that, and boy howdy, like I'd kind of teased a minute ago, creatively this was really difficult to do, and I think I don't think I know that I have been avoiding designing these levels for a long time and doing like everything in my power to get all of the rest of the game built before having to do this, because of that like creative fear of like how difficult it is to have this vision in your head of like, oh man, it's going to be so awesome, it's going to be so badass,
Mm.
uh, and knowing like once you actually start building the thing and you make it and be like, here it is, it's not going to meet that expectation that you had, that vision that you had in your head, and it's going to be really disappointing and defeating. And that's exactly how I feel. Like I got this thing out, and I'm just like, I lost like a whole day because I did what we saw and was like planning to do some more work, but was just wrestling with those creative demons that were telling me like, this sucks, you suck, you're an imposter, you're not good enough, you're letting everybody down, and like dealing with those like creative demons and really getting my ass kicked by
Mm.
them, made me kind of like shut down and not work on the project, which then creates this like piggyback problem where now I feel bad because the level didn't turn out as good as I was hoping it would, which then, my ego says like that speaks to your creative potential and how skilled you are, meaning like not very, because if you were, more creative and better skilled, like it would be a lot better than it is. So you've got that happening already, and then because of that, I'm not working on the game. And that makes me feel even worse because now I feel guilty about like, well, you should be doing the work, man. Like you're in dereliction of duty. Like, what are you doing? Which then just like spirals into this like real darkness
Mm.
in the creative process. And so, anyway, I just wanted to be really candid about talking about that because it's like that's not something you hear a whole lot about in in the creation of things. It's always like the cool sexy stuff, like those storyboards that I showed, like, oh man, I did a storyboard and there's like a script and like here's the thing that came out. Like there's a whole other side of creating stuff, of being a creative person, that's really really difficult. And I think the the takeaway for me, that the one like the sort of mantra that I was able to kind of hold on to and just struggle through with was, um, probably something I'm going to write about in the creativity book whenever I can finish that damn thing. Um, but it's what I'm going to like tentatively call like the pirate principle, the RRR, the R principle,
Ooh.
which is, um, resistance plus recovery equals results. RRR. And what I mean by that, and I think it applies to a lot of things even beyond just doing creative work, like even getting in shape, resistance training, kind of where I got the idea for resistance. In resistance training, you are forcing your body to do work. You're like doing push-ups or pull-ups or lifting weights, which is actually causing damage to your muscles because you're stressing them.
Hmm.
You are creating this resistance that they have to fight against to overcome, which damages them. Then you need to rest and recover, which gives your body time to rebuild those muscles, which then grow bigger and stronger. So the next time you face resistance, you can fight more resistance, you can do better. The same thing is true for creativity and making things. I think creativity is a muscle. It's and it even taps into, I think, the same central nervous system components that your body uses when moving your physical muscles. Um, it's really no different. Aside from the fact that you're doing mental work versus physical body work, but in both cases, your central nervous system gets stressed.
Mm.
And the on the creative side of things, the resistance, I guess actually maybe I should rebrand resistance because there's another meaning for resistance in the creative world, which is this sort of like this sense of, um, actually no, maybe it's a, I'm doing this all on the fly, folks, so forgive me for not being like super uh, concise or prepped.
No,
You're,
this is
you're getting
great.
all this raw.
Yeah, this is great.
There's another meaning of resistance in the creative world, which is this sort of like feeling of a lot of what I was going through, this like feeling of defeat and like not being able to get the work done, and like, and I think actually it very much embodies the resistance that you have to fight against in order to uh, stress those creative muscles, to like fight against that resistance, try to do a thing that's hard and that requires creativity. And then and then the other piece of that is you need to step back and relax. You need to rest and recover and let
Yeah.
your mind reset and rebuild, go to sleep, where all kinds of amazing things happen to change your brain. And in doing that, if you do that process over and over again, where you're like, do something that's creatively difficult, let yourself rest, uh, build that creative muscle, do something that's a little bit harder, rest, and just keep doing that, you'll eventually get better. The the unrealistic expectation is to approach something that you've never done before, and expect to like hit an absolute home run.
Yeah.
That'd be like, if you've never lifted any weights in your life before and you go into the gym and you're like, okay, uh, what's the maximum amount of weight that this bar can hold? Yeah, let's put that on there. I'm going to try to lift that.
Yeah.
You're going to,
Kill your
not only
hurt
you're not
hurt
going to be able to
yourself.
do that, you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing is true for doing creative work. It's creativity is a muscle, and you need
Right.
to treat it as such, and don't beat yourself up um, for not being able to meet that unrealistic fantasy expectation of what you should be able to achieve that's running around in your head. Um, Use that because it's, you can use that as motivation to get excited,
Hmm.
but balance that with the understanding that the only way to get better is to put in those reps. You have to keep showing up and lifting a little bit more, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and you're going to face the resistance. You're going to feel
Hmm.
like, man, I'm terrible. I'm an imposter. This is shit. I can't do this. That action of showing up and facing those feelings, that's what builds your creative muscle. It's
Mm.
not actually showing up and hitting a home run. Because if you're doing that, you're actually not lifting the amount of weight that is causing that stress. Because
Hmm.
if you're lifting weights that are easy for you, you're not growing. You're just
Right.
going through the motions.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my tirade on the sort of like creative odyssey that I've been on since we last spoke, and it was really tough. But I'm glad that the way things turned out were that with scene one so far seems good. The response seems pretty positive. I really appreciate the encouragement from everybody and the constructive feedback. You guys had some really great ideas. Um, so yeah, all of that is just to say, if you're out there and you're trying to make a thing and you're having those feelings, it's totally normal,
Mm.
and it's up to us to make the decision to keep showing up, to keep getting in the ring, and to
Mm.
keep fighting that creative resistance and building those creative muscles. So
Yeah, yeah, Michael, well put, man, well put. And I love the fact that you said, it's you have to rest because I mean, it's so interesting. Like, 'cause, as someone who is a Christian, the God says, "Oh, you must rest on the seventh day," and to me, I never really took that to heart. I mean, yes, I did it as a traditional thing that everyone goes to church on Sundays, but it actually it's not just about going to church. It's about resting your mind, resting your body, resting your soul, resting your just calm oneself down in order to actually rejuvenate. And yeah, like you said, if you go to that weights, you put all that weight onto that bar. You never done this, you're gonna fucking hurt yourself. It's gonna hurt, right? And I think it's so true because whenever I'm drawing, I mean, let's just think about I'm gonna apply to me as an artist, how I got to where I am today. Definitely, I struggled, and obviously, I'm not the first day I pick up a pencil, obviously there are times when I stop drawing, right? And then I go to bed and what you said, sleeping, changes the mind, it rewires your brain. It that's absolutely necessary. Just, just taking the time to rest for yourself and let your mind grow naturally. I don't know how it works. I'm not into the whole psychological thing, but I know for a fact that when you sleep, stuff happens, right? And so yeah, I totally think like you're absolutely right in that, when we hit this challenge, this roadblock, this like, oh, I'm a imposter, it's like all that suffering is part of the whole creativity, becoming a better, designer, musician, artist. It's like like you said, the resistance training. We're just keep fighting and fighting and fighting, and we're breaking down that muscles, and then we're getting it even more and more, right? Or breaking the muscles down and then healing it and get stronger, healing and it gets stronger. I think that's absolutely true. And yeah, man, suffering is just part of the. Well, I'm saying suffering because whenever I'm painting something that I can't get, I'm just pissed at it. I'm pissed at the computer. I'm pissed at the art. I'm pissed at myself. I'm pissed at like the references I'm using. I'm jealous of the artists out there. Fuck everyone who's really better than me. You guys all suck, and it's all this negative emotions that makes the back of my head just heat up, that it just burns like, oh, it's not going the way I wanted to. And that's just part of it. And I think as long as we can resist that temptation to just stop and quit and say, well, this is too hard, frack this, I whatever, I don't want to do this anymore. If we can if we could just have the little bit of perseverance, break it down into smaller chunks, doing it, step by step, I think it's definitely achievable. And again, like that verse, what is it? Suffering produces perseverance, perseverance character, and character hope. I think uh, that really helps kind of solidify what I'm talking about. In that, yes, there is suffering, but if we don't go through suffering, we'll never become the artists that we are. So yeah, I think you put it really very very well, and I think I hope everyone in the chat hears what you're saying, and it's like whenever they feel that way, it's just, yes, it sucks, but we're on the right path. We are doing exactly what we need to do, because I know for a fact that are all artists out there who first started, they all sucked. And then it's just they kept going, right? They persevered and they didn't stop their dream of achieving whatever they want to achieve, right? Is then that then they're able to get better. Like for example, like what I'm doing right now, designing female pinup anime girls, right? There's gods out there who are so much better at me. Kim Hyung Tae, Kim Jong Gi, like so many people out there. I'm just like, God, this is so hard, you know. But what can I do? I just gotta practice every single day, even though I don't see the progression. As long as I know that I'm doing at least one piece a day and just keeping at it, I know I may not see the light, but at least I'm walking forward. Yeah. So I think what you said again, Michael. Thank you for sharing that. That is really really very important. And I cannot wait until you write your creativity book because I think that I are you you're not working on that right now. You're 100% working on the game, but I'm hoping you're writing notes down. Like this is what I'm experiencing, save this. This is going to be chapter 4 or 5 or whatever. Hopefully you have that right.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This project has actually been like incredible fuel for that book because there's been so
Mm-hmm.
many things like that where I'm like, ah, man, this, and so I, write down what I'm experiencing in my notes and thoughts like these. So, yes, uh, I'll get, I'll get to work on that as soon as we're done with this prototype.
Yes, yes, please. Because again, oh, by the way, remind me, Gandalf. Gandalf asked something. Basically, I gave your book, Amazon website to Gandalf, because Gandalf's daughter is wanting to write a book, but because he lives in Australia, he wasn't able to order it. So I got to ask you about that
Oh,
a little bit later. But let's get to the chat. Totoro says,
sure.
"Boy, Michael, well put. Those anti-creative demons, relentless opponents, but well worth the battle. You both are clearly winning the war." Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thanks,
Cat
man.
Captain Blue Blue says, "Oh no, these asteroids are made of super titanium." And
Yeah.
he also says a
I
picture
got to do it in
for.
the Southern Belle voice.
uh,
Oh no,
oh
these
no!
asteroids are made of
Oh,
super titanium.
oh my word! A
Oh, oh, mercy me.
mercy, clutch my pearls. A picture for the behind the scenes book. And Captain Blue says imposter syndrome, and Heavy says curb those creative demons. Something is better than nothing, and that something can be tuned and honed into the ideal form you're looking for eventually. Rome wasn't built in a day, so they say. Totoro says, yeah, absolutely. Heavy, yes, it was not built in a day. It's day by day, yeah, right. Totoro says emotional labor, that difficult feeling in your chest when you have no idea what to do for nearly the entire workday and continuing to create into the unknown. Cookie says, I relate. Yeah, same here. High five. Yeah. Totoro says, embrace and seek out rather than resist that painful emotional labor. However, I think we will never see this unmarketable slogan in a Nike commercial. That's true. That's true. He also says, thanks for the sharing, Chris and Michael. Really helpful. Well said. Killer Cookie says, Australia thing. Yeah, yeah. So yes, well, we'll definitely talk a little bit about your book with Australia, Delio. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here, for sharing your thoughts as well as your feedback. And this is the reason why the Creative Tavern was kind of like created. It was to share our journey, the challenges that that will it's inevitable, like what Mr. Smith says from Matrix. It's the sound of inevitability, or something like that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So we are here to support one another, and you guys are here to support us. I'm hoping that one day when you guys create your own stuff, that we will be here to support yeah, you guys as well. I don't care if it's a song, a story, a video game. Just post your stuff on Discord. We will be there to check your stuff out every Sunday, 7 p.m. Yeah, cool. Awesome job, Michael. I cannot wait for next week to see what scene one, the rest of scene one, is going to look like. It's going to be awesome.
Sure.
Yeah, and I definitely will add that jamming communication radar on the list, and I don't think it should be too bad to not, so it shouldn't be too hard.
Cool. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys. Michael, would you want to get a drink of water before we start the trivia, the John Claude Van Damme trivia?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me take a quick break, get trivia up and running on my computer, and we'll get started.
All
So I'll
right.
be right back.
All right. I will be here and to chat with you guys. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. Thank you so much. Ooh, wow. I am very, very distorted. But I'm hoping you guys are doing well. And thank you again for being here to just be on this journey with us. And since Michael isn't here, I will let you guys know. Hold on, is he here? Or I'll just keep this on here. I want to let you guys know that whoever's in this chat right now and from before, uh, I will make sure you guys have your name in the game somewhere hidden. Is what we call Easter eggs. So definitely, Killer Cookie, KK Killer Cookie 101, Gentleman underscore Heavy, Totoro underscore versus for underscore Sephiroth. I'm gonna have your guys' name in the game somewhere. Michael doesn't even know this, so I will definitely put your guys' name somewhere that is visible, but invisible to the naked eye, but definitely visible on the assets. So whenever you guys see the game, you guys will know, oh, that's a call sign of me. So I will definitely give you guys credit for being part of the game. Hey, Michael, how you doing? Did you hear
I'm
what
back.
Did you hear what I was saying?
No.
All right, good.
Something
Cause
about a call sign or something?
yeah, 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 we're gonna have a cool call sign. So yeah, we're gonna do that. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. That's what you get for not being here, Michael. Wah, ha, ha, we get to talk
I
secret
missed
stuff.
out.
Ah, ha, ha. Anyways, I mean, well, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, cool. Are you guys ready for the John Claude Van Damme trivia? God, I hope I do well on this one.
I hope so too.
Oh, jeez,
It would be
it
embarrassing.
would be very, very embarrassing. Oh my God, I will carry the team.
Yeah.
Oh, I will carry the team. All right. For those of you guys who like to participate, please raise your hands. Either type in "I want in" or actually put an icon of a hand raising. I know some of you guys are really good at your emoticons. Heavy says, "Yeah, trivia night, let's go." So Heavy is
All
definitely
right.
in. Heavy is in.
Gentleman heavy. Actually, I'm going to put you up here. Gentleman.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Heavy with his super cute emote.
So I've already got Captain Blue Blue and Chris on here. I'm just going to leave you guys in there unless you say otherwise.
Do 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 do
I
do.
know
do.
Cookie's still with us and Totoro.
Totoro, would you like to
You
play?
guys both going to
Cookie,
play?
would you like to play? Please play with us. Captain Blue Blue says, "Heck yeah, nice." Captain Blue Blue, you are a trooper, man. I can't believe you're still awake. You are amazing. Yeah, Cookie's gonna play too.
Yeah.
Sweet, sweet. All right, Kotoro says, "Oh yeah." All right. We got 5 people. Anyone else in the chat? Feel free to let us know if you want to play. We welcome new. Oh God, what do we call ourselves? Like, what do we call people who are in the chat? Like,
Uh,
tavernites, travelers.
I've seen Captain Blue Blue a couple times on our raids. Mention like Tavern Brawl. We could be Tavern Brawlers.
Brawlers, brawlers. Yeah, yeah,
Tavern
yeah.
Patrons.
Patrons.
Creative adventurers. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't think
We'll
of
think
a.
of something clever.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Drunks. You drunks.
Just
Drunk.
drunkards.
Drunkards. Yeah,
All right,
dude.
I think we've got our team then. So we
Oh,
got
we
Captain
got our
Blue Blue,
team.
Chris, Gentleman Heavy, Totoro, and Cookie.
Let's go. God, I hope. Oh man, I hope we do well. Totoro says
I hope so too.
tavern flies. Tavern
Tavern
flies.
Flies. That's pretty good. All right. Here we
Alcoholics.
go, folks. Hopefully, I've got everything set up. I think we should be good.
Oh god, this is so
Team Tavern
nervous.
versus Team Rando.
Hopefully,
Hope you're right.
Rando is balanced this time.
We'll see. I mean, it's I admittedly haven't changed it at all, so it's still purely just total random.
Random. All right.
We'll see. Question number 1. In 1982, Jean-Claude Van Damme moved to the USA to become an actor. What country is he originally from? Is it A, Belgium, B, France, C, Germany, or D, Brazil?
A. Belgium. Hands down. Final
Wow.
answer.
Oh my God. Chris is
Boom.
extremely confident
Mic
about that
drop,
answer.
mofos. Oh God, I hope
Captain Blue Blue is right behind you. He also says A.
I hope it's Belgium.
Gentleman Heavy also agreeing A. Wow, you guys are pretty confident about this one.
Totoro says D. Brazil?
All right.
What?
Totoro says Brazil. Are you
Brazil?
doubting yourself now, Chris?
Oh God. Toto says no
Oh
A.
no,
All right.
Totoro changed his
All right.
mind.
All right. I was gonna say, man. I was gonna say. Cookie
Thoughts,
says
Cookie?
A.
A question mark? Wow, man, you guys better hope that it's
Oh
Belgium.
God. Jesus. It better be
Dun, dun,
Belgium, or else.
dun.
All right.
And it
Drrr.
is Belgium.
Yeah! I shall
Wow.
carry the team. Yeah.
Yeah, it's big time.
Yeah.
5 points. Team Tavern coming out swinging.
Yeah. Wow.
Um,
We whipped their ass.
Man, yeah, I thought for sure I would have been able to like get at least a couple people to be like, ah, maybe he's French because his name is kind of French sounding, but maybe not. Maybe it's like, oh no, that's maybe Captain Blue Blue can weigh in from being much closer to that part of the world than the rest of us. Be like, no, that's definitely a Belgian sounding name. But how did you know that, Chris? Because you were like 100% assured. Did you just know?
I think throughout my life I've heard bits and pieces of Belgium and him, like just he's Belgian maybe, or he
Hmm.
speaks that language. I don't know. It's just him and Belgium goes hand in hand, goes together. Yeah.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
well, there you go.
Captain Blue says he speaks Belgian, so I think
Mhm.
he's from there. There you go. Yeah.
That would be the giveaway, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys are off to a hell of a start. Next question. Here we go. There's a moment in 1994's Street Fighter where Van Damme shows off one of Guile's special moves from the game. Which move is it? Is it A, Hurricane Kick, B, Flash Kick, C, Spinning Bird Kick, or D, Scissor Kick?
I know this. I just don't know what's it called. It's the crescent kick that he does. It forms a little like crescent thingy. I don't know is it called Hurricane? Is it Flash?
Well, so yeah, I can't tell you, but I can say if you are like really up to speed on your like Street Fighter like game lore, like even if you
Yeah.
haven't seen the movie, you
Yeah.
would know the answer
Right,
to
right,
this
right.
because
Uh
something.
I know it's not scissor kick. Scissor kick is kind of weird. Spinning bird kick? Spinning bird kick. That sounds weak. Hurricane kick. Flash kick. Flash kick is weird. Uh
Totoro says Hurricane, so Totoro's going with A.
Oh God, I don't know this. I know the move. I see it. It's like a little. He does a little jump. It goes backwards. I have
It's
no
like a
idea.
little backflip thing.
Yeah. Gentleman
Hmm.
says yeah.
Yeah, you
It's
remembered
it's
it.
100% A. Okay, all right. Well, I'm gonna go with A. I'm gonna piggyback off of them.
Wow. Okay, so Gentleman Heavy A, Chris A,
Flash kick, spinning bird
and let's
kick.
see, we got Captain Blue Blue and Killer Cookie.
I think the spinning bird kick is it might be Chung Lee's. I'm not sure.
Captain Blue Blue is also gonna go with A.
He
Also,
says
Cookie, should we be saying K Killer Cookie, or is Killer Cookie okay? Is it Killer Cookie? Just curious.
I
Or
I,
if
I
you prefer just Cookie.
I've been calling her a cookie.
Okay. K Killer Cookie 101. All right. Killer Cookie says B.
Ooh.
Flash kick. All
Oh,
right.
oh God. Oh God.
Well, at least one of
Oh
you
no! Oh my God,
the
no!
right answer.
Good job, Killer
Oh
Cookie. Oh my
man.
God! Who
Yeah.
who
Oh boy, that
wait,
and
who
it's so tragic too because you know
I know
exactly the
exactly the
scene,
move.
what the kick, the move. You know, yeah.
Wait,
So yes.
who said 100%? Heavy, you said 100% A, man. What the hell? Ah!
So I was real tricky here because all of these are special moves from characters in Street Fighter, but they're
Yeah,
from different characters. So
yeah.
Hurricane Kick is something that Ken and Ryu do. Flash Kick is
Oh.
obviously a
Yeah.
Guile special. So that's probably why you guys were like, "Oh, Hurricane Kick, yeah, that must be it," because that's the one where they like they kind of do
Yeah,
this and
the
then spin around where they're
Hatataduken.
like.
Yeah.
So Flash Kick is the Guile one that you were thinking of.
Yeah.
Spinning Bird Kick, you were right. It
Yeah,
is Chun Li's
Chung Lee's, yeah.
move. She like does a handstand and then does the splits and then her
Yeah.
legs spin around.
You can see her nice booty and everything.
Yeah, yeah, those thunder thighs.
Yeah.
Um, and then the scissor kick, it's very similar to Guile's
What the
kick,
hell's a
but it's
scissor
the one
kick?
that Bison does, where he's doing like a
Oh,
double
he does
kick,
that.
back flip,
He
or front flip,
the
or something like that.
front flip
Yeah,
kicking
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I think
yeah, yeah.
it's the front flip version of it, but
Oh,
yeah.
that's so interesting. I've never actually knew the names, like the names of the moves. I just know them by, how to do the joystick combination, right? Uh
Mm-hmm.
damn it. Oh my gosh. Well, good job, Cookie.
Gotcha.
Good job.
Yeah.
Damn it, Michael.
Amazing job, Killer Cookie.
Wow, she was like,
Uh,
"Nope, I'm not going to go with Hurricane Kick. I'm going with Flash."
yeah, picking the right answer, pulling
Yeah.
into the lead on the Team Tavern board, and
Awesome.
boy howdy, we're leaving Team Rando in the dust. I think I might need to reprogram Team Rando to be a little less random, and because man, they are just no challenge at all every week.
They're deliberately like trying not to get the right answer
Yeah,
because
look.
before it was never there was no A and then this one is like no B at all. So it's
Yeah, they
crazy.
picked every answer but that one. I swear I didn't program it that way. This is just truly random.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 3. Jean-Claude Van Damme was considered and almost cast for each of these famous roles slash characters, except one. Which one?
Oh god.
Was it A, Simon Phoenix in Demolition Man, B, the Predator in Predator, C, Jack Reacher in Jack Reacher, or Michael Charito in Heat, or Charito? I don't know how to say that last name. So Jean-Claude Van Damme was almost cast for all of these except one. Which one
Uh
was it?
I'm gonna go with Simon Phoenix. I'm a blast from the past. uh
Nice.
good
Chris
only
says A.
only reason why I'm picking Demolition Man is because I that's the only one that I think he was not. I don't know.
Okay.
I love Demolition Man.
Me too.
Like Sylvester Stallone and Sandra Bullock. Oh, it's perfect combination.
Oh yeah,
It's
they're great.
such an awesome movie, man. I love it.
And who there's another like comedian in it.
Oh, Rob Schneider was in it.
Yeah, Rob
Yeah,
Schneider,
yeah, yeah,
he's in it
yeah.
too. He's the guy doesn't know how to use the seashells.
Yeah, that's right. They never explain how to use the seashells. God, I love that movie. It's so good.
I know. I always like that always frustrated me. Like you tease it, but you never actually tell us how to use the seashells.
Yeah. Right. Cookie says D.
Okay.
Totoro says, I'm with you. Simon Phoenix had to be Snipes.
Nice.
Yeah. Blue Blue says,
Captain Blue was this.
I
Go ahead.
know he. Oh, sorry. Captain Blue says, I know he got the role in The Predator, but got replaced later. So he says D.
D. Okay. Captain Blue also says D. All right.
All right, Heavy.
And I think yeah, heavy. What say ye?
What say you? Totoro says, how about how they joked about Arnold becoming POTUS? Oh, right. And then he actually became the California governor. That's pretty
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, I mean that's a crazy story considering, he's like an immigrant from Austria, didn't speak the language, learned how to speak the language, became a movie star and a
Mm,
bodybuilder, and then became the governor of one of the states. Like, man, Arnold's story is crazy.
yeah, man. Uh, Heavy says he'll take D.
Alrighty, looks
Or
like we're split down
A and
either side here,
D.
A and D.
No Predator or Jack Reacher. All right.
And the answer is Jack
Oh my
Reacher.
God, we all got it wrong.
Yeah. So yeah, Captain Blue Blue was right. Jean-Claude Van Damme in like like early casting for Predator, he actually was. They actually filmed some sample footage with Jean-Claude Van Damme, but he complained that the suit was just like it was too hot. He was like
Yeah.
passing out in it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was too much for him.
I remember.
So he bailed on that role. Um, and yeah, and he was considered before Wesley Snipes. They were considering Jean-Claude Van Damme for Simon Phoenix in Demolition Man,
Oh.
and then the Heat one is I think Tom Sizemore ends up playing that character in that movie, but yeah, he was also considered for that. Um, so yeah, I was surprised. Like, wow, these like major movies
Oh.
could have like had a little bit of a Jean-Claude Van Damme twist if things had gone just a little bit differently.
I cannot see Jean-Claude Van Damme being Simon Phoenix. Sorry, that's just weird.
Right?
That
Yeah.
is so
Yeah.
weird.
Now that we have Wesley Snipes,
Right.
like he is definitively that
I'm
character.
a blast from the past. Heavy says it was a coin flip between C and D for me. Ah, almost got it. Almost got it,
Yeah,
Heavy.
very close.
Very close.
But hey, you guys are still doing great because
And
nobody
and
got that
again,
one.
Team Rando is
Yeah,
like
look at that.
deliberately missing it's like they don't want to answer correctly. What the hell
I
is going
know.
on?
They're saving it for like a big finish. They want things to be dramatic at the end,
Holy
I
cow.
guess. All right, question number 4. Two more to go, folks.
Oh god.
Early in his career, Jean-Claude Van Damme became friends with another martial arts star whom he worked for. Who was it? A. Jackie Chan, B. Chuck Norris, C. Steven Seagal, or D. Jet Li?
Okay.
And as an extra hint, Jean-Claude Van Damme, because I couldn't fit it in the text here, Jean-Claude Van Damme actually worked for this guy like on movies, but also he owned a bar, and Jean-Claude Van Damme was a bouncer for him. So take that for what it is.
I don't think it's any of the Asians.
Okay.
Sorry. Uh, uh, uh,
Suit yourself.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think it's Jet Li. Jet Li didn't come into play until like. I mean, Jet Li was still in Asia doing his thing over there until Lethal Weapon 4, and I mean that's like way past.
Oh, yeah, I remember
Way
Lethal Weapon 4.
Yeah, and that's like way past. By then John Claude Van Damme wasn't really doing a lot of movies, if I remember correctly. And
Yeah,
Jack
was
and I don't think Jackie Chan does. He owns a lot of. He owns some hotels. I think he owns restaurants, but those are all in China. So I don't think he's done that. So yeah, I think the Asians are out. Yeah.
okay.
So it's either for me Chuck Norris or Seagal. I'm gonna say Chuck Norris because Seagal and Van Damme, they both really have hot-headed personalities, in my opinion. I think they're both alpha males that always wants to get their way. So I'm gonna say Chuck Norris. I think Chuck Norris is the guy who John Claude Van Damme worked for.
All
Oh,
right. And
oh, also, they both did a commercial, uh, this very, very similar commercial where they both do the splits. Jean-Claude Van Damme was doing a splits on two semi trucks, and it was like doing it right beside, and then he's like right in the middle of the semi trucks. But Chuck Norris had to outdo Jean-Claude Van Damme. So instead of two trucks, Chuck Norris was actually on top of two flying airplanes flying right next to each other. So
amazing.
it's fucking cool. So I'm gonna say Chuck Norris.
You're in good company. Captain Blue Blue agrees with you, and Killer Cookie also thinks it's Chuck
All
Norris.
right. Watch everything comes down, crushing down. It's actually Seagal. I'll be like, oh
It
god,
was Lee all along.
oh my jaw.
What say ye, gentlemen heavy?
What do you think,
Is it a
Heavy?
coin flip again for you this time? If so, whatever side the coin flips, choose the other one this time.
He says the man, the myth, the legend, Chuck Norris,
Chuck
baby.
Norris. Doesn't Chuck Norris have all those like jokes where like Chuck Norris doesn't have a chin under that beard, it's just another fist.
That's pretty cool.
All right. Looks like everybody is choosing Chuck Norris here, except Totoro. Was Totoro the brave soul who got the correct answer? Or actually, you guys did great. It was
Yeah!
Chuck Norris.
Yeah! Cookie says, "I
Yeah.
believe in you,
So
Chris. High five." Yeah! Yeah!
good job, everybody. So yeah, apparently they were like pretty good buddies. Chuck Norris was like more established. So he owned a bar and also had like movies. And Jean Claude Van Damme became part of his like stunt team initially,
Oh,
and then eventually I think he helped him get like some actual on camera roles.
nice,
So
nice.
there you go. And cool trivia tip from Captain Blue Blue. Apparently, Chuck Norris and Jean Claude Van Damme used the same martial arts fighting style or fighting system. So that's
Oh,
neat.
oh, interesting. I did
I didn't
not
know that.
know that. Interesting. Heavy says
Um,
Chuck Norris doesn't read books. He stares him down until he gets the information he wants.
nice.
That's freaking awesome. Blue says, "Do you know if they do the same martial arts system? Because Van Damme won the world championship in it, I think." Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's beyond my knowledge.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I do know that when I looked up some information about Jean-Claude Van Damme, he has won a lot of championships and
Mm,
lost very few. It was
mm.
something like 20 plus wins and only like 3 or 4 losses or something.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a beast. And in multiple championships or disciplines, he had like a whole bunch of wins. So he was awesome.
Nice, nice. Good.
And fun fact about the Steven Seagal thing, apparently there's a story where a bunch of the martial arts guys were in Hollywood together and were like at a party or something, and Jean-Claude Van Damme was there, Steven Seagal was there, Sylvester Stallone was there, and apparently Steven Seagal was like talking shit a whole bunch about like how he could kick Jean-Claude Van Damme's ass.
Oh,
And eventually Jean-Claude he got fed up with him. Was like, "All right, fine. Let's go into the backyard and settle this right now."
nice.
And then Seagal like kind of like waved him off and didn't,
Yeah.
and then like sneakily left the party and went to some club or something. And then but Jean Claude was like pissed and like went and found him and
Oh,
challenged him
fuck.
again.
Uh,
And Seagal just like totally backed out and it never happened.
yeah.
And Stallone said something like, "Yeah, I think Seagal knew that Jean Claude was just way too strong at that time. Like he
Sure.
he wouldn't be able to handle him." But
Sure, sure, sure.
a little animosity there in the martial arts community, apparently.
Yeah, and I would totally put my money down for Van Damme as well, because Van Damme has such a long reach. I mean, physically wise, he's so much taller, and I mean, his kicks just extends out for miles. It's insane. So yeah, I would totally put my money down for Van Damme. And now Seagal, where is he now? He's on Russia's propaganda site, living in Russia, doing their bidding. So I don't no hate to the Russian people, but since because it's the government over there that's like controlling everything, and Seagal's, you know, kind of doing that thing for them. I don't like it. I don't like it. Nah.
Yep, war sucks, man.
Yep. Yep.
All
Uh.
right.
Yes.
Team
What the?
Tavern doing
Yes.
great, and Killer Cookie kicking ass tonight, like three
Yeah.
points,
Good job, Killer
as
Cookie.
much as all of Team Rando combined.
Yeah. Nice job. It's that one question that like. The flash kick. Or was it the flash kick? Yeah, it was the flash kick, right? Yeah, she was the sole person that chose it and got it right.
All right, everybody. Final question of the evening, the one
Ooh.
for all the points. All right, Street Fighter, another one. Van Damme appears as Guile in 1994 Street Fighter. It had a budget of $34 million. How much of that was Van Damme's fee?
Oh, hands down. Go ahead.
A, $1,
What?
B, $100,000, C, $1 million, or D, $8 million.
Hands down, $8 million. Um,
Wow, okay, man, Chris is extremely confident.
I
Did you like his agent for that movie? Did
well,
you?
well, he's such a because I know there was like a uh, confrontation, I think that went
Oh,
on. Yeah, like
really?
yeah, some people, a few of the actors weren't as happy that Van Damme got paid so much, but they basically said Van Damme at that point in time was such a big star and that he kind of deserved, to have a lot of money. for it. So again, it might be 1 million, it might be eight. I'm choosing eight because out of 34, it makes sense that he got a shit ton of money because he was the like triple A art star back then. So that's why
Sure.
they paid a lot for that. I don't know. That's
Sounds reasoning.
yeah. So I'm going with D.
All right, Chris is locked in at D. Very sound logic behind his choice. What say ye, chat? Do we think Chris is on the right track, or maybe has he made a mistake? I'll try to keep
Oh
uh,
god. Oh
my
god. Is
reaction as
oh
ambiguous as
oh
possible,
jeez.
so you have
Oh
no
jeez.
idea. Like,
Yeah, did you know the actress who plays Chung Li was the voice of Mulan?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I forgot what her name is.
Ming Na.
Mi Na Wen. Yeah, 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 yeah. She's so cool.
Yeah, I can tell you this because I didn't end up putting this in here, but was almost going to do a trivia question that was related to her because um, she also did. It was sort of like this video game connection where she plays Chun-Li in this movie. She also played another video game character or another character from a famous video game franchise that was made into a movie. And before I tell you what it is, if anybody knows what it is, you can have a bonus point. But yeah, she did the voice of another character in a really famous franchise that was adapted into a movie. Um, I'll give you guys a minute to think about that. But that was almost going to be a question that I thought of because yeah, she's like when she did Street Fighter, she was kind of unknown at the time. She hadn't
Right,
really done a whole lot of things,
right. Uh-huh.
but since then, she's gone on to do all kinds of stuff. She's
Blown
even
up.
in Boba Fett and Mandalorian.
Yeah,
She's
yeah, yeah. Um,
Fennec.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She's also in oh gosh, she's in so many things. She was also in Agents of Shield. Agent
Oh
Melinda
yeah,
May.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, Finnick, May. But you said it's not Mulan. It's another. It's a voiceover for another famous TV show.
A famous video game franchise that got
Video.
adapted into a movie. Um, I can't. So I think the chat room might have reset for me. So if anybody typed in their answers, I missed them. So if you
Oh,
could
oh,
read them
okay,
to me,
sure, sure,
please.
sure. Totoro says 1 million. He says that 8 million was a lot in '94. Cookie
All right,
says,
there we go.
wait, what was the question? Sorry. Um, wait, hold on.
Uh, w- which question,
Yeah,
Cookie? The actual question or the Ming Na
I
bonus?
think it's the Ming Na bonus because the question is on the screen.
Sure. The Ming Na question was basically so Ming Na appeared in Street Fighter, and then she also did the voice of Mulan, but she also did the voice of another character in a movie adaptation of a famous video game franchise. What was the movie and or the franchise? If you can name either one of them, we'll get you an unofficial bonus point. That if it is the tiebreaker, then I
Mm.
mean you've already got so many points, Cookie. You're probably doing just fine. You don't need it, but if you want the extra credit, you can have it.
Heavy says, I agree with Totoro. 1 million was quite a lot. I'll say C. So he's gonna go with 1 million.
Alrighty.
And Captain Blue Blue says D.
All right, Captain Blue Blue siding with Chris. And Killer Cookie, whatever you think in terms of the Ming-Na question, let us know. And also for the Van Damme question, how much do you think Van Damme got paid for Street Fighter?
Captain Blue Blue says, and if you missed it, I just checked, and Norse and Van Damme share the same system, karate.
Oh,
Yep.
wow, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I
Well,
didn't
there
know
you
that
go.
either. That's cool. Thanks, Captain Blue Blue.
Doot,
Yeah.
doot, doot, doo.
What do you think, Cookie? What do you think?
Yeah, as soon as you give us your thoughts, Cookie, I'll tell you the answer to Ming-Na, and I'll register your answer for this question.
Cookie says
Oh,
D.
got it. Okay. Sorry if I didn't see your answer there, Cookie, because my chat died on me. All right. Before I reveal this one, I'll tell you the answer to the Ming Na question. She was also the voice of Aki Ross in Final Fantasy.
I have no idea who that is.
Well, it's just one of the characters in that movie, but the Final
Interesting.
Fantasy movie was like The Spirits Within
Oh,
was
The Spirits Within. That one.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Gentleman Heavy, I believe the answer for the bonus question is Final Fantasy. Bonus
Oh,
point, Gentleman Heavy.
there you go. Nice job, Heavy. Wow. Wait.
The movie that almost bankrupted Square.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a huge financial flop. They
Wow.
spent so much money on that movie and nobody went to go see it.
I mean, I saw it and I didn't. It wasn't that great. I mean, it was like
It's a weird movie,
it was a
but I
really
love it.
yeah, it was a weird movie. I didn't really watch it the second time. It didn't make me go. It wasn't a Demolition Man. I mean, it's not something that I need to watch every other year.
Yeah, yeah, that was a movie that was like made for nobody. Because the fans of Final Fantasy, it was like a completely different thing, and then the people who weren't fans of Final Fantasy were like, "What the hell is this?"
Uh-huh.
So it really didn't have an audience, but for
Er,
some reason, I really liked it.
Yeah.
Even though I think it's not a great movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry to have gotten distracted. Uh, Back to the answer to the Van Damme question. So Van Damme appears as Guile in 1994 Street Fighter. It had a budget of $34 million. How much of that was Van Damme's
Come on,
fee?
8.
And
Come
the
on, 8.
answer
Come on,
is
8.
it
Yeah!
was $8 million.
Yeah! Yeah,
Yeah,
I
good
knew
job.
I knew it was a absurd amount cuz people were not happy and yeah, it was just off the chart and yeah, it took a huge chunk of the budget, so I remember.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right. When I looked this up, I think they had hired Jean-Claude Van Damme and Raul Julia,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
who plays Bison, right?
Yeah,
This was
he's good.
actually his last movie before he died.
Yeah, like
Um,
stomach cancer or something like that. Like he was
oh geez, I didn't know that. That
yeah,
sucks.
yeah, he was in a lot of pain apparently when he was filming it and he just powered
Oh
through it.
man.
Yeah.
Wow, what a trooper! Because
Yeah.
when you see him like just chewing up the screen, like you wouldn't know that he was dying from stomach cancer.
Yeah.
Jesus.
He was having a lot of fun doing it. Yeah.
Apparently he had no familiarity with the game, but his kids loved it, and
Mhm.
so he
Mhm.
did it for his kids, which is
Yeah.
I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
But anyway, they spent so much money for the two of them that all the other actors had to be basically like unknowns, which is the reason why Ming Na was in it. Um, and then another fun trivia fact that I couldn't quite figure out how to get into a question was, uh, do you guys know who played Cammy in the Street Fighter movie?
Oh
A
god, I see her face.
famous
I see
Australian?
I see her face, but I don't know who it is. Oh god, do you guys chat, do you guys know who it is? Cammy? She's a beautiful girl. I don't
She was
remember.
famous before that, but not for acting.
Uh I don't know. I have no idea.
Um, Totoro says, "Ignore me. Stomach cancer is correct." Oh wow, jeez. And then
Yeah.
Captain Blue says he took the role despite the cancer because his children really wanted to do the movie. Yeah, bingo, you
Yep.
nailed it.
Yep.
Oh, Captain Blue Blue's got it. He knows who it was. And Gentleman Heavy too. It was Kylie Minogue.
I have no idea who that is.
If you heard her music, you would probably know. She did man, can I even think of any Kylie Minogue songs? I think the Locomotion, like "Do the Locomotion with Me" or whatever. Um, yeah, well, in the like late 80s, early
Uh-huh.
90s, she was like a really famous kind of like pop music
Uh,
star.
uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And then yeah, she's just randomly in the Street Fighter movie.
That's
And
cool.
apparently, it's because one of the agencies that was like overseeing the production told the director, you have to hire an Australian actor in one of the parts. And by that time, they'd already cast everybody except Cammy,
Uh-huh.
so Kylie Minogue kind of like ended up being the default. Um,
Oh,
and I also wonder if it's because they filmed a lot of that movie in Australia, actually.
interesting.
So I don't know. Extra
Hmm.
fun trivia for
That's
y'all.
that's cool. Thanks, man. That was great.
Sure. And man, bang up job, you guys. Team Tavern, the whopping 13 points versus Rando's measly 4.
Wow.
And Killer Cookie killing it
Oh,
tonight.
oh, Cookie says she has to leave. By my next answers are ACDC, ACTC. Well,
Nice.
you already won, Cookie. So good job, and have a good
Thanks for
rest of the
being
day.
here.
Yeah, have a good rest of the day. Can't get you out of my head is a big song. Or can't you
Oh
get?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know her. I don't know her. I can picture her face, but I don't know
hmm
her.
I bet if you YouTubed Kylie, some like famous Kylie Minogue songs, I bet you would recognize some of them from like, oh yeah, I remember that back from 1992 or whatever.
Oh, right. Okay, all right.
But good job, everybody, wiping the floor with Team Rando once again, and yeah, killing it. Hopefully that was fun. You guys did amazing. You know way more about Jean-Claude Van Damme than I did. I didn't know any of that. I had to look all that up. So good work, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Sorry, I'm just being distracted by Kylie photos, Street Fighter.
Yeah, she was a cutie.
Yeah, beautiful girl.
Let's see here. I can close this now. Um, well, here's another just random fun trivia question for you. Does anybody know the Street Fighter character Cammy, has a code name? Do you know what the code name is? And Captain Blue Blue says, "What's the next theme?" We haven't picked one yet, so if you have any suggestions, bring them on in.
I know Cammy was used to be like a brainwashed like soldier for Bison, and Bison runs Shadowloon. So Shadow something. God, I don't know. Cammy, aka Sephiroth. Camo.
It was
Uh,
not Sephiroth. I'll give you that one.
um, I don't know.
This is a tough one. Oh man, but Gentleman Heavy coming through with the correct answer. It
Wow,
is Killer Bee.
Killer Bee. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Bambi. Killer Bee. Wow.
Good
And
job, Gentleman Heavy. Yeah.
damn,
Pulling that one out of the archives there.
that's great. Wow, I did not know Cammy's alias was also Killer Bee.
Yeah, there you go. A little fun Street Fighter canon for you. And that's all I got, folks. Tapped out. I
Yeah,
got no more trivia for
thank you
tonight,
so
but
much.
hopefully that was fun.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michael. This was a lot of fun, and yeah, I had this was the most fun trivia for me, at least, because it's all dealing with
You were on it, man. Like
street.
there were so many where you're like immediately final answer,
Yeah,
100% confident. I know this one. You killed
yeah.
it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's Street Fighter, so I and Jean-Claude Van Damme. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. And yes, to what is the answer to Blue Blue's question? What is the next theme? Do you know, or are you asking for suggestions?
Yeah, if you guys want to give suggestions, I'll take them. If you don't give me suggestions, I'll just surprise you with something.
Do Demolition Man. Do Demolition Man. That would be
Demolition
so
Man.
much fun.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. It depends on what the chat wants as well.
Man, I'd be happy to do
Oh
a
God,
whole Demolition Man
I loved that
focus
movie.
episode. That would be great.
Yeah.
Well, if no other suggestions come in, stay tuned for Demolition Man next
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, please. I don't want to be the person that always gives the things. Captain Blue says Western movies.
Sure, we could do westerns.
No, the only westerns that I kind of know are like, I don't know, Wild Wild West. uh, I know there are a
Oh
lot
man,
more than
there's a
that.
whole bunch of Western movie fans out here that would be like, "That's not a Western,"
Yeah.
but it is fun. I
It,
mean, it's not the best movie, but it's a lot of fun.
yeah,
I remember when that came out. I had a great time with it.
yeah. I really like Kevin Kline. Is his name?
Oh yeah, yeah. As
Yeah.
Artemis,
Yeah,
Artemis
he was
Gordon.
a lot of fun. Totoro says Japanese horror. Ooh.
Ooh, good choice.
Yeah. That's nice. Heavy says Clint Eastwood westerns would be fun.
Hell
Christopher
yeah.
Lloyd films. Ooh.
Oh wow, that's another good choice.
Yeah. Wait,
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna
Chris
write some of these down.
Christopher Lloyd is Back to the Future's the what's
Doc
his face?
Brown.
Doc Brown, right? Yeah.
That is correct.
Captain Blue says monster movies.
Monster movies again. We like monster movies. Or
Uh
maybe like monster movies, but not kaiju movies. Or we could do kaiju again.
yeah. Heavy says the old spaghetti westerns are fun. Totoro says Beetlejuice. Man,
Ooh, yeah.
all
And
these
you
good.
guys have really good
Yeah,
suggestions.
these are great. All Beetlejuice.
Eastwood.
Yeah.
Japanese war. Um, don't let me stop y'all. I'm just gonna jot these down real quick.
Captain Blue says I was thinking Universal monster movies. Oh,
Ooh, that's a good one.
like the Mummy, the
Frankenstein,
Frankenstein's,
Bride of
Frankenstein's
Frankenstein,
Bride of Frankenstein's. What else? Very cool.
The Mummy with Tom Cruise,
Ooh,
the start of the Dark Universe that
that
never
was
came to be.
not the best one to start the Dark Universe. That one
Yeah,
flopped
well,
horribly,
yeah,
right?
it
Yeah,
flopped hard.
yeah.
I didn't think it was that bad. I thought, but I'm also kind of a Tom Cruise fanboy, so
Mm. Yeah, I didn't watch it yet, so
Lithuanian art house movies. That's definitely going to be it. Captain Boo Boo. That one's going to be, yeah. We're all going to be very familiar with that one.
yeah, I'm just gonna go with
Um,
what Captain Blue Blue says because I have no idea. I
yeah,
have no
no,
idea.
you're going to be the only one who knows.
You got to carry the team, man.
Beetlejuice.
God, that flash kick question is it's bothering me, man.
Got under your skin.
Oh God, I know the move. I just don't know the name of it. Oh God.
Yeah, I'm just impressed that you knew. Like, oh yeah, it's that scene. It's like I can see it right now where he's doing the backflip. Like, I
Yeah.
know it. Like, whoa, wow,
He
that's
he,
impressive.
he does it like too many times in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
He's the once and then another time and then another. I'm like, come on,
it's like
man.
okay,
It's like
yeah. Once or twice as fan service. This is excessive.
yeah, this is totally excessive. Yeah. How about the old black and white monster movies like Nosferatu?
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah. Um, the monster ones are really good. I may push that into
Halloween.
October. Yeah,
Yeah,
so we
yeah,
can
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
do like all of any of the and maybe the Japanese horror too. I'll
Mm-hmm.
collect these and then we'll just do for all of October. The themes will be horror stuff of different flavors. So I'll kind of keep these coming. I'll just collect them though, and then we'll do all of them in October
Yeah,
to
nice.
show our seasonal spirit, celebrate Halloween.
Yeah, very cool. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for your suggestions. Really appreciate it. And thank you so much, Michael, for doing such an awesome job with not only the Unity, but trivia. It was a lot of fun. Again, I had the best fun. This is my favorite night of trivia ever because there was Jean-Claude Van Damme and Street Fighter stuff. Yeah, that's
Hell
awesome.
yeah!
Totoro also says Korean and Japanese revenge horror.
Ooh.
Jeez, guys, so dark, so dark, man. I'm the only one lighthearted. Hey, Jean Claude Van Damme. Hey,
Let's do Disney movies.
Disney movies. Oh God, I would do horrible in Disney movies. Heavy says, yeah, that works. Tis this season to be spooky. Nice.
Oh yeah.
Nice, nice. All right, guys, we're gonna call it a night. Once again, Michael, thank you so much for your amazing work so far with this trivia, and I can't wait to see what we do for our next trivia. Yeah, and
Yeah.
for those of you guys in the chat, make sure to check out my socials as well as Michael's socials, and you can find me, of course, here on the Creative Tavern, as well as twitch.tv/Lead Design Studio, where you will find me every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. PST drawing anime pinup gals. And I have a lot of fun hanging out with you guys doing it. So, yeah, make sure you follow me there. Michael, where can they find you, good sir?
So Chris shared a link. You can get access to all my socials there. They're kind of inactive right now. They will become much more active after we're done with the game prototype when I can spend some more time working on those. But in the meantime, though, if you want to hear more from me and you like stories, I've got a book, Blockbuster Blueprint, which is available everywhere except Australia, apparently,
Yeah,
which I'll look into
it's
and see
weird.
what's up with that.
Yeah.
So there's that. Otherwise, the best place to catch me is right here on the Creative Tavern every Wednesday and Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, hanging out with Chris, talking about this video game we're making, and spending time with you, lovely creative people. So I'd love to see you there.
Yeah, with that said, we will see you Sunday, and thank you so much again for being here. Cookie, Heavy, Totoro, Captain Blue Blue. Am I missing anyone else? Oh, Heavy. I think
Coley Butt was here
Kolibut.
briefly.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Kolibut. She is currently probably sleeping right now, getting her energy for work tomorrow. Well, yeah. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your night slash day or night or evening. Yeah, thank you, thank you. We will see you Sunday. Bye, guys. See ya. But don't
Oh,
go.
raid.
Oh yeah, we're gonna raid. We're gonna raid. Don't go anywhere.
Excellent.
And let's
Tavern
see.
brawl commence.
Yeah. Let's go to Herb Master. He is doing art. We haven't raided Herb in a while, so we're gonna go ahead and raid Herb. Raid Herb Master. The tavern brawl is coming. In 10 seconds. 10 seconds. All
Here we
right.
go.
Here we go.
So